To BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $634. Antiwar.com reports the Russian ceasefire in Aleppo, initially 8 hours, but since extended to 11, has now been extended through Saturday, insisting they want to support efforts to get civilians out of the Nusra Front-held portions of Aleppo. There were reports of skirmishes on the ground near one of the designated evacuation zones, but no Russian airstrikes. The evacuations are slow-going so far, with pro-rebel activists urging civilians not to leave, claiming the ceasefire is a Russian lie and that the Russians will exterminate every civilian who tries to leave through the zones. The lack of formal UN involvement in the evacuation has also deterred many. That may change, however, with UN humanitarian officials saying they're planning a formal medical evacuation for wounded civilians on Friday, having received assurances that the ceasefire will last through that period. They did warn, however, that getting it organized that quickly will be difficult and anything could still go wrong to stop it. The US and EU have been pressuring Russia to halt all airstrikes against Aleppo permanently, while Russia has been urging them to get everyone away from the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front. While Russia has extended the ceasefire with the eye towards that happening, so far nothing is happening. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more. UPI reports a man slashed his own throat in a Santa Ana, California courtroom moments after he was convicted of sexual assault charges, according to local officials. Jeffrey Scott Jones, a former high school English teacher from Huntington Beach, California, cut his throat with a straight razor Wednesday immediately after he learned jurors had found him guilty of sexually assaulting a female teenage relative of his girlfriend. He was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Jones was out on bail during his trial. Senior Deputy District Attorney Heather Brown said right after the judge asked if we wanted jurors polled, both attorneys said no. He then took a razor out of his left pocket and slashed his throat. His head hit the table and I thought he'd fainted, but I saw the blood and the razor on the table. Lieutenant Mark Stitcher of the Orange County Sheriff's Office said there will be an investigation into how Jones was able to have a razor in the court and provide answers to that. Jurors deliberated for about 2 hours before arriving at a guilty verdict on 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 1 count of continuous sexual abuse. Jones faces up to 66 years in prison. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports U.S. safety regulators confirmed late Thursday an 11th death in the United States caused by a ruptured Takata Corporation airbag inflator, the latest fatality tied to the largest ever auto safety recall. At least 16 deaths, including 5 in Malaysia, are now linked to the defect that prompted the recall of nearly 100 million airbag inflators worldwide by more than a dozen automakers. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said a 50-year-old woman died after a September 30th crash in Riverside, California, in a 2001 Honda Civic that was first recalled in 2008 and never repaired. This is the first U.S. death reported from a Takata inflator since a 17-year-old high school senior died in Texas in March in a moderate-speed crash. Automakers have fixed about 11.4 million inflators in the United States thus far, leaving more than 20 million unrepaired. The defective airbag inflators deploy with too much force, sending metal fragments flying. Honda said in a statement on Thursday that more than 20 recall notices were mailed over nearly 8 years to the registered owners of the vehicle in the deadly California crash. Takata spokesman Jared Levy said the tragedy underscores the importance of replacing those airbag inflators that have been recalled by automakers. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
We have a breaking news blast on the tragic situation happening across the country in which more than 40,000 Americans have been trapped in a Confessions animal hoarding marathon on Animal Planet for the last 13 hours. The Animal Hoarders Marathon began at 9 this morning as victims were preparing for a full day before hearing the fateful sound of the show's opening credits. Almost instantly, thousands were pinned to their couches by a story of a heavyset homosexual living with his partner, his toothless sister, and 31 chihuahuas. Rescue workers rushed to free as many victims as they could.
The rope secure? Rope secure. We're gonna get you out of here. Just hold on a second, ma'am.
Wait, I think the next one is about monkeys.
Ready? Ready! Pull!
No, wait. Can I just see what happens with the feral cat?
In other parts of the country, rescue workers enlisted volunteers who had already seen the episodes to spoil them for the victims.
Oh, yeah, this one. This is about the lady living with the dogs in the trailer. She doesn't even get evicted in the end.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and join us on the radio here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Mark.
And, of course, you can bring up whatever is on your mind. And we also bring things to the table that we think you're going to find interesting. Today, I was wondering if there was something wrong with my internet connection as I attempted to connect to Twitter.com and was getting a DNS error. And so I attempted to connect to downforeveryoneorjustme.com, which is a website that allows you to, type in a website that's not working on your computer and see if somebody else's computer halfway across the world can reach it. Because sometimes there's like breakdowns in the internet in places. In this case, Twitter was actually down. And apparently so was Down for Everyone or Just Me, because I couldn't get to that site either, as well as GitHub, SoundCloud, and PayPal. All reported down earlier today.
Now, does that mean that our show wasn't able to be downloaded? Because we're on SoundCloud.
In theory, that would mean that, yes. However, Free Talk Live amplifiers do not download from SoundCloud, so they would have been able to get the show. Anyway, story coming from the Daily Mail, and then on the way, there are a couple of clown-related stories. One of them we never got to earlier this week with Target actually apparently removing masks from stores. And, Mark, you've got a story about a town in, was it Mississippi?
Yep.
That has banned anyone wearing clown apparel or clown masks. You will be ticketed, possibly arrested, if you're caught wearing those things. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. And our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. And the Skype username is LRN.FM. So the story from the Daily Mail, a massive coordinated series of cyber attacks has forced hundreds of major websites from Amazon to Twitter offline across the globe, and WikiLeaks believes its supporters were responsible.
Okay.
It urged its backers to, quote, stop taking down the U.S. internet, saying Mr. Assange is still alive and WikiLeaks is still publishing. They then tweeted, quote, the Obama administration should not have attempted to misuse its instruments of state to stop criticism of its ruling party candidate. The Ecuadorian government switched off Assange's internet service Sunday after he released another tranche of emails showing the contents of a speech given by Hillary Clinton to Goldman Sachs. WikiLeaks accused John Kerry and the U.S. government of asking Ecuador to shut down Assange's internet connection, but the South American country denied that it came under any pressure from the U.S. or any other government.
They're probably just sick of him being there. What's he been there, like 5 years? I mean,
but they don't have to keep him there.
Where would they put him?
Well, they're not obligated to keep him in their embassy, are they? I mean, it's not like he's there against their will.
Well, I mean, they could just bodily move him out, but it's going to give them more sort of bad press. Why are they turning off his internet?
That's what I want to know.
Well, the same reason that they would move him out.
Well, then why haven't they moved him out?
They're trying to do it slowly. How do you get somebody who's how do you get a bum out of your apartment, Ian?
Right. No, I see what you're saying. Customers in the store at the late night, they turn off half the lights to let them know it's time to leave.
That sort of thing.
The Department of Homeland Security has launched an investigation into the crash, claiming it could be a precursor to an attempt to disrupt the U.S. presidential election further. Well, how did this disrupt the election in the first place?
It is a disrupted election.
I just checked on The Guardian because it sounded somewhat familiar. So The Guardian says it was a massive DOS attack.
DDoS, a distributed denial of service, is what that stands for. It's where multiple computers, usually people who don't even know they're participating via what's called a botnet, will attack a server with so many requests per minute that it just bogs down, and can't handle anything.
Servers can handle only so many requests per minute, and that's it.
It was from something called the Mirai botnet. Trying to see. There's a map actually somewhere on the internet. I forget what the website is, where you could see where a DOS attack is coming from and who's receiving it, like by which country. So I'd be curious to see where that is.
WikiLeaks has already come under fire for its decision to publish about 20,000 emails from John Podesta, Clinton's campaign chair. Internet service company Dyn, which controls the address book of the internet for dozens of major companies, said that it had suffered its first denial of service attack shortly after 6 a.m. Eastern Time in an attack that mostly affected the east coast of the United States. It told CNBC the attack is well planned and executed, coming from tens of millions of IP addresses at the same time.
Wow.
That's a tremendous attack. Now, I don't know what the average size of a DDoS attack is.
Now, you don't have to be a you don't have to know that you're participating in this to have participated in this.
That's right.
So there's a good chance.
Which means the feds might show up at your door.
How many computers?
Tens of millions.
Tens of millions. There's a good chance your computer was involved in this. You just don't know. If it was on, if it was infected by some kind of virus, which likely only would have it do this task when somebody asked it to.
Right, or malware.
There are some you could voluntarily download. I don't know if LOIC, low orbit ion cannon, is still in use, but for that, that's what Anonymous would use for some of its early DOS attacks, and people would.
Yeah, but I bet you the percentage of people who have chosen to join these attacks compared to those who are unknowingly involved is much lower. I don't know what the breakdown is, but it's probably a super majority of people who don't even realize it. They've downloaded some kind of porn or whatever it was that got this malware on their system.
Little cursors that has sparkly things that follow it.
Yeah, I don't know how they effectively distribute this stuff, what methods they use to do it, but it might not be a bad time if you haven't done so to go ahead and run a virus scan. Or if you don't have a virus checker on your computer, then it's probably a good idea to go ahead and put one on there, and an anti-malware scan as well.
Well, my computer was shut down at that time, so I'm glad that I wasn't involved. But I will say that I was doing some downloading today, and I had speeds better than usual, so I suspect I wasn't involved.
Well, I don't know. I don't think this would necessarily take up a bunch of your bandwidth.
Well, then there you go.
My computer crashed today, so now I'm very worried.
And the idea is to overwhelm the server with requests. I mean, sending out these requests doesn't take a lot of bandwidth. I mean, it's just basically saying, "Hey, I want this website." That's basically what here I am. I want this website. That's essentially what your computer is saying. That doesn't take a whole lot of data. That's just a little bit of just a few bytes or whatever being sent out to sort of ping out to the server. And then when the data comes is when the server is sending to you, right? So you're not really sending anything to PayPal or whatever. If you're on PayPal, all you're sending is your login and key, and then information about who you want to send money to. I mean, there's very, very little data coming from the customer in those cases. So, yeah, just because you got a quick internet connection, Mark, does not mean that your computer is not a part of a botnet.
Good to know.
So the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. There was a second attack. So, again, one at around 6 a.m., another one around 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which appeared to be centered on UK servers. And later it was said that several attacks were underway on servers across the globe, with the west coast of the U.S. being particularly badly hit. It was not immediately clear who was responsible, and Gillian Christensen of the Department of Homeland Security said they were investigating all potential causes. Political commentator Keith Olbermann raised the possibility it could be a precursor to an attack. Apparently, he's got himself a talk show. Said that it could be
had a talk show before.
Attack on Election Day. Now, it's obviously pure speculation on his part. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Tom, listening in the Dominican Republic. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tom.
Yeah, and by the way, when I called up the other night to make a comment about the two-party system, it was definitely not intended to be funny. It was intended to be blunt about having a choice there. But the same thing applies to other issues about the bureaucrats, namely democracy, for example. Saying that gang rape is a democracy because 5 people say yes and 1 person says no, and the majority elect one of themselves to be the sheriff, whose job is to handcuff the victim. Because obviously 1 vote is useless when you're outnumbered, and so is campaigning when the majority don't give a fire truck about your right and they would only enjoy the victim's helpless pleas for mercy. But, of course, killing the sheriff might work. And if he didn't want to get killed, he shouldn't have agreed to take the job. And if the majority did not want the sheriff to get killed, they should not have voted wrong.
Well, I don't think violence is going to solve the problems that we have with violence.
I'll bet some rape victims out there wish that a violent person would come protect them, though.
Yeah, it's different,
That's
though.
That's kind of his point.
I get his point, but it's different when you're dealing with the state because it has legitimacy in people's minds, unlike your average rapist. Thanks for the call tonight, Tom. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We can continue that discussion, and we can talk more about hackings. It's Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply, or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now, earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in, toll free. Join us here. Bring up what's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and our Skype username is lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Mark.
Roger Ver is an early proponent of Bitcoin. He's a libertarian, an entrepreneur, and a peace activist, also a longtime listener and supporter of Free Talk Live. He's predicted great things for Monero. Monero is a cryptocurrency with robust security and privacy features, and I think one of the most unique things about it, besides its anonymity, is that Monero was not based off of Bitcoin. It was actually created from scratch, whereas most of these other alternatives to Bitcoin are just tweaks to the Bitcoin original code.
Right.
So Monero is kind of special, and that's one of the reasons why it's begun trading on the dark web. And, of course, that's one of the things that gave Bitcoin a boost back in the early days of Bitcoin. Now, Roger Ver has predicted a market cap for Monero as high as $1 billion in the near future, and Jax.io is, of course, the Free Talk Live official wallet. It's incorporating Monero into its wallet, so that's going to be coming soon. I would presume by the end of the year, but I haven't talked to the designers. I know they've announced it, so usually they're not going to announce something unless they're pretty close on it. You owe it to yourself to become educated on Monero. If you're into cryptocurrencies, check this thing out. We're not going to tell you to buy it, but Mark and I have a little bit, and you should take a look and decide for yourself. Go to getmonero.org. That's getmonero.org. As we continue here, we can get back into hackings and things like that, but I thought Tom's call might have been worth going a little bit further on just the idea about legitimacy. You know, yes, the government is the equivalent of a gang, a violent criminal gang. That's basically what they are, but they have all these trappings surrounding them of legitimacy. They make it look like they're something else. Oh, well, we're not your typical gang because you can actually vote for the mafia dons. So that makes us different. That makes us your gang. You're part of our gang. You know, there's all this. You're the government. We're the government. There's all this propaganda out there.
It's the greatest branding campaign success in world history. So what governments are protection organizations. Many of them, and because of their monopoly status, many of them have added extra services. Many times those services have to do with sort of protection of the poor, from, I don't know, consequences. And but I mean, in some way or another, people don't think about these organizations the way they do about other protection organizations or other organizations generally. I mean, a government's just an organization, right? It's a group of people working under, a brand title doing
corporation
stuff.
Yeah.
Now, since it's a monopoly, the customer service is poor. The prices,
it's expensive.
Yeah, the prices are high. The accountability is low. All these things describe every government that's ever existed in the history of man. Sure,
they only look good when compared to other governments.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm sure the Swiss government's slightly more efficient just because, we are the Swiss, right? And I'm sure that there's governments that do things better than other governments. The U.S. government certainly does that. Let's build big ships and airplanes thing. It does that really well.
Well, they hire people to do that.
Not airplanes anymore for the F-35, but
it puts them. Yeah, right. That's a disaster. It puts them in the sky, and the other nations haven't been able to do that. But when you talk about one of these organizations, the first, say you say something bad about your service organization, the first thing somebody's going to do is say, well, it's better than the other service organizations, and that may be true. It may.
No, wait. When you say service organization, you're talking about like
the governments,
the Lions Club. Oh, okay.
You don't like America? How about the Soviet Union? That's.
Well, I don't consider them to be service organizations.
They provide services.
Yeah, but at the threat of violence.
I understand that.
That's not service.
It's a monopoly, and monopolies are going to tend towards that sort of behavior. But, I mean, it's a protection organization, right? I mean,
it's a protection racket, sure, a violent protection racket.
Yeah, that's that's
where
what
they protect the politically connected.
Is protection. Now, they don't actually provide protection. They provide the illusion of protection.
Every now and then they could protect somebody.
Sure.
I mean, the cops will, in certain instances, actually go after a bad guy. But a lot of times they're also threatening peaceful people.
Their fundamental job is to protect the state itself.
Correct.
And Now, if you have a bunch of, I don't know, murderers or bank robbers running around inside your, the geographic area that you call your corporate, billowhack, then that's going to undermine your work. I mean, you can't have these people running around in the same way that Walmart can't have somebody running around the aisle stabbing people. The people, the police in you pick the town, New York City can't have people running around stabbing people. It makes them look bad. So they'll try to get the murderer to prevent them from doing those things.
They don't try that hard. A lot of murders go unsolved, but
about 50% of them.
Yeah.
But
they try.
Yeah. So they're doing the work. They're getting some things done.
If they weren't so busy arresting marijuana users, they could try harder on the murderers and the rapists.
Murders are hard to solve, especially.
I getcha.
But
resources are what they are, and if you put more resources on something, it's more likely to get done.
Do you really want the resources that currently exist in law enforcement to, rather than be disbanded when the war on drugs is ended, to be refocused on tasks like finding out who the murderers are?
Because it doesn't bother me if law enforcement's going after murderers and rapists. I think that's what they're supposed to do. If we're going to have a government monopoly on law enforcement, I would like to see their budgets cut, sure. But if I get to choose, Mark, between no change to law enforcement and same-size budget, but all they do is focus on violent crimes, I'll take same-size budget, focus on violent crimes.
I'm with you. I think that you have a difficulty when you put people who want to succeed on a case, and you have too much focus on it. And one of the problems there would be that they find
the wrong
person, and that's bad news.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I don't want the right people found. I certainly do. And the other difficulty is we don't know how many police officers should be on a particular case because the market hasn't spoken on that, because policing is a monopoly. You don't get to hire people to focus on it and that sort of thing. We just don't know the answer. And this is just some of the fundamental problems with the protection services that we have, known as governments today. And it's because they evolved over the course of 9,000 years with the agrarian revolution from these
slave catchers.
Yeah, no, they're master servant paradigms.
Yeah.
So first you've got this chieftain that manages to catch a bunch of other people, calling them slaves, putting them to work, and integrating them in and saying, hey, we're gonna be very successful here. Then you got to watch over them, so you have to build sort of structures so that you could get up and higher than them and take a look around and see who's working and who's not, and that kind of thing. And then these chieftains turn into plantation owners, who turn into kings, who turn into emperors, who, let's take down the emperor and we'll make a republic. And, rather than having the sovereign power rest with one person, we'll have the sovereign power rest with the voters. And that's the whole idea. And it just basically takes this.
Look how that's worked out.
Yeah. It's like a taxi cab driver has been, kicked out. And now the passengers are, deciding where we're going to go. It doesn't, it makes sense. School bus driver, I should say.
I believe Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela is actually a former bus driver.
Good for him.
Yeah, the dictator there. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I've actually got a story out of Venezuela about corpses exploding in their decrepit Venezuelan hospitals. Just sounds like a lovely place to visit. Our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. But also clown news on the way. This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us.
Want to build a maintenance-free, low and slow charcoal briquette fire that burns for hours for free? MeatMastersRadio.com will show you how to build a low-temp charcoal fire that's guaranteed fiddle-proof. It's easy and free. MeatMastersRadio.com teaches charcoal barbecue skills on new topics every week. Go to MeatMastersRadio.com. That's MeatMastersRadio.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So, I heard somebody say that 50 is the new 25. I mean, I can live with that, but isn't age just a number? I mean, if you feel good and look good, who cares about numbers anyway? I take care of myself, and, well, I use Nature's Youth RSF from, you guessed it, Nature's Youth. Think of the money you spend on things that make you feel better for just a little bit, and then think of spending the same amount or less on something that can make you look and feel better for a lifetime. How about the facts? The ingredients in Nature's Youth RSF work naturally, providing just the right environment to support healthy HGH levels while maintaining homeostasis. RSF is non-toxic, and it doesn't contain any synthetic hormones, which can weaken your endocrine system. Simply add RSF to your sensible diet and exercise plan. You can, and will, thank me later. Forget about that aging number I mentioned and focus on the anti-aging number. 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and online at naturesyouth.com. Nature's Youth. Live your life.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio on demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're having a discussion, actually, we were having during the break there, about credit. And Vincent, he is our youngest co-host. He's in college. It's his first year in college here in Keene, New Hampshire at Keene State. And you were just talking about your credit card that you have with Bank of America that is hooked up to your Bank of America checking account. So it's an auto kind of debit from your checking account to pay off the credit card bill. You're hoping to build credit, but there's all these rumors out there, and I wonder if there's a way to verify this. I bet a simple internet search could do it, but we just haven't. Literally, we were talking about it right before we came back on the air.
I'll just call their helpline and ask sometime when I have a chance.
They may or may not know, right? Like your average phone operator at Bank of America may not be a credit expert. So you really want to consult somebody who knows all these rules, these credit reporting agencies. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, these are the three main credit reporting agencies. There's a set of rules that they have where certain things you do will build your credit number and certain things you do will hurt your credit number. And Daryl said just a moment ago that he's heard, and I've heard this same thing, and I consider it to be a rumor that benefits the credit card companies, not your credit. The rumor that if you have a balance on your credit card that you don't pay off, that somehow that helps your credit. That I just don't understand.
From creditkarma.com, the top contributor here, so this is the sort of thing that people vote on or whatever. It's almost always better to pay off your credit card completely if you have the financial means to do so.
Of course it is, because otherwise they're going to charge you out the wazoo with interest charges, which are absolutely ridiculous. And that's how these credit card companies make money hand over fist on people, because they pay the minimum balance or they don't pay the full amount. They overspend what they can possibly afford, and then they end up in debt. The advice of you need to have balance on your credit card to earn credit is like in telling people that debt is somehow going to help them get a good credit score, and that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, from a financial perspective, unless you have a special rate on your credit card, say 3% or lower, you're generally better off paying the monthly balance in full. An exception would be that if you have a card for emergencies, in today's economic environment, having cash can be very useful, and should you lose your job or run into other financial emergency.
When I got my first loan for a home back in 2004 or whenever it was, I had not done anything whatsoever to build any credit except for have a credit card and pay it off on time every single month. That's it. That's all I ever did. I mean, unless the cable company, I guess there's some companies like cable companies that might report, but I always paid those bills on time too. So I always paid all my bills, credit card and whatever other bills, water bill, etc., on time. I'd never carried a balance over from 1 month to the next. If I ever did, it would have been on an accident, and I would have corrected it immediately. So I was able to get a home loan based on that amount of credit building, and I never even had a car loan before that either. I never had a car loan. I always paid cash for my cars.
From an optimal credit score perspective, paying interest on a balance doesn't help your score. Using your credit card once every few months is enough to build a history of responsible credit use and payment.
I got a special deal out of it because I worked for a lot, because I worked and had a decent income, or I think they give it to everyone who has a new card. I have 0% APR for a year, so until next summer, I didn't have to pay anything. But I took in high school, I took a college level personal finance class, and I think everyone realized it was a huge scam. Even the professor told us it was a scam, and she was able to.
You mean
take
the 0% APR thing?
Oh no, just credit cards in general. Like if you have to check your credit, it costs money to check your credit. If you get your credit checked to get, say, something like a new card, that actually hits your credit. Your credit tanks
but one ding doesn't really do it. It's many dings in a short period of time.
I know. And she had the whole list. I forget now, just because hey, it was high school, of what to do to build your credit, to have like good credit. She had like a 700 credit, and it's a lot more than just paying off your bill. You have to make, say, like big purchases. You have to pay over a period of time. There's a whole criteria of what you need to actually get like 700 credit.
I don't know what my credit number actually is. I'll be finding out here. It's just interesting this came up because I was on the phone with TransUnion earlier today by total coincidence, and I'll be getting a free copy of the credit report that they're sending, because what happened with me was I attempted to sign up for an online bank, or actually it was a regular bank, but they let people sign up online. And so I tried to do that, and they compared my info that I gave them on the sign-up form with TransUnion's information about me, and they claimed that it didn't match. And so because it didn't match, they said, well, we're sorry, you're going to have to come into a bank branch. Until then, we can't do business with you. And they did actually say it was TransUnion, so I should call them and see, what was going on. I called them up, and I gave them the information about me, my social and all that stuff, and the guy on the phone said, yeah, it looks like it matches. So he said he was going to send me a copy of the report. So you don't actually have to pay for the report. If somebody has denied you an application, you can usually get the report for free in that particular case.
TransUnion offered me the opportunity through email to get my credit, to find out my credit score for $1, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, $1, that's worth it. And it was easy to do. Turns out that that was $1 for the first month, and then $20 a month every month thereafter.
Yep.
I went to I went back to them. I'm like, you people are a bunch of scam artists. Dear God.
You didn't see that? I saw it pretty clearly on their website.
I didn't pay that much attention, apparently. Well, and then I had my credit card company go and get that money back from them. Clawed that crap right back from them. That's a scam, man. You can get
it's presented to you right there on the website. It was not a scam.
Well,
I mean, it's...
in the literal sense, it's not a scam.
A $20 credit card monitoring fee?
Well, it was an identity theft program or something.
Yeah,
like
that and a whole bunch of other dumb crap that
Oh, it's an expensive one. It's ridiculous. Yes. I wouldn't sign up for that. So, but I'm just telling you, you're saying it's a scam. It would be a scam if they didn't tell you about it. And they did.
Agreed, Ian.
Just because you were drinking too much and you didn't notice it or whatever it was, you're half asleep,
I'd say
that's not their fault.
He didn't mean scam, not that I'm analyzing semantics, but it's not a scam in a literal sense. In the literal sense, yeah, that'd be illegal. But it's a scam as in they say in big letters, hey, this is to check your credit score for $1. And in a very tiny print, but they know not too many people read because they have small attention spans, it charges $20 out of it, so much more. So that's how I'd say it's a scam, just in the more like urban use.
I'm sorry.
Here's how you give feedback, Ian.
It's right there on the front page of their website.
I didn't go to their website, Ian. I got an email offer. I specifically told you.
So wait, you're clicking on their
I don't have the email for you to look at, dude. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I guarantee you it says it somewhere pretty prominently.
I get that what you're saying, right? Yeah. It probably was in there if I would have read it thoroughly. And, if it said that they were going to come and take my 8-year-old and cut him up into pieces right there in front of me that I didn't read the whole thing, they would still be evil people.
You're lucky they don't take Bitcoin.
Okay? Well, they can't take Bitcoin. That's the nice thing about Bitcoin is they can't just come and get it from you.
No, what I mean is, they can't just come get it from you, but if you authorize them to, if you give them Bitcoin, then you can't do the chargeback, which is what your company did.
Right. Well, I wouldn't send them $600 in Bitcoin or something for a credit. I wanted to get my credit report for $1, and that's what they wanted me to want. And then they sold me a bunch of crap I didn't need beyond that. And so I went to my credit card company and I told them, get this back. And they went and they did it. They went to the big scam artist organization that attempts to sell you the credit score that they've built on you over time, has invaded your privacy throughout your life, and then attempts to sell you the information.
Look, I am in no, by no means am I a huge fan of these credit reporting agencies, but I doubt they invaded your privacy. It's probably things that you gave up. You likely gave your address and information to various different companies who then sold that information or transferred it over to TransUnion based on their contracts.
That's what they do, but they don't get enough money by going after these companies and getting their money that way. They have to come to you and then sell you this, this package of crap you don't need. I'm sorry, selling the people something that they don't need at a price that is significantly higher than other people will sell it for is scammy.
No, I understand where you're coming from.
You think that somebody who comes to your door and sells you knives is a scam artist, like Cutco?
No, I didn't say they were scam artists.
That's the terminology.
No. I never said anything bad about Cutco's products.
Yes, you did. I've
never used any of their products. I've never heard anything bad about them. All I've heard is
business practice. And selling this stuff at a higher price is a bad business
What we've heard
practice.
is that they don't treat their employees well.
I'm not talking about
My dad
Cutco.
worked for them for a job, and he said, to watch out for him.
Right, watch out as an employee
because it's like some kind of reverse pyramid scheme of sales.
Right. That's how we've critiqued Cutco and those companies. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Investment Rarities, a 43-year-old company, has created the best silver offer ever. Get a U.S. Silver Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, Austrian Philharmonic, OPM Pure Bar, and Silver Round. Have all 5 for $99 postpaid. You heard me right, 5 ounces of silver below cost. No credit card fees, free shipping. Just $99 and you'll have a great start on what it takes to survive even the worst economic storm. Act now and receive Jim Cook's exclusive paper explaining how it's possible to make a fortune in silver today. Don't miss this opportunity. Call 800-328-1860. Read how the above-ground supply of silver has dropped below even gold. The secret is being suppressed. The price could explode at any time. Call today at 800-328-1860. Get 5 ounces of silver for only $99. Find them on the web at investmentrarities.com or call 800-328-1860. Call now before it's too late. 800-328-1860.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold's $3 higher at $1,268 per ounce, and silver is 2 cents lower at $17.58 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at 628 US dollars. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage have been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. To see how we can help you, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us here. What's the scammiest thing, one of the scammiest things you've ever found on the internet, or, if you want to be honest, fell for on the internet? The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, one thing that is not a scam, and that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's for real. It is, Vincent just got his first portion of a Bitcoin last week, and it's awesome. It works really well. That's why Bitcoin is right now about $630 US per Bitcoin. It's that price because Bitcoin does what it says it's going to do, unlike scams. Bitcoin delivers its currency to wherever it is you want to send it in the world in basically an instant. And it does it well. It does it cryptographically sound and securely, and it can't be hacked or taken down by governments or corporations or banks. And so that's why people value Bitcoin. And that's why there's some disagreement, unfortunately, within the Bitcoin community over where Bitcoin should go in the future. There are those in the community that don't want to see Bitcoin grow, and they're holding back the increase of the block size. Now, a new Bitcoin client has been introduced, and it has an increased block size and is supported by Roger Ver, a.k.a. Bitcoin Jesus. Recently, via BTC, which is the 5th largest miner, switched exclusively to Bitcoin Unlimited. That's the new Bitcoin client we're talking about here. Bitcoin prices spiked 5%. Now, that could be a coincidence, but a lot of observers don't think so. Bitcoin shouldn't be held back by a few, and you can learn more at bitcoinunlimited.info. That's bitcoinunlimited.info. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Patrick, in Arizona, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, guys, I just wanted to let you know, man, you sort of disappointed me there. I mean, I'm a police officer, and I mean, I try to do it for all the right reasons. I mean, the state and everything else, I think that's the last thing on my mind when I'm trying to protect and serve. And a question you asked, how many officers does it take to solve, crimes of murder and stuff like that? It takes every officer. It doesn't take just one. When something bad happens, generally even the community gets involved. And, you try to do the best you can out there with the resources you got, but sort of disappointed me, guys.
Well, let me explain.
Well, we had different opinions on that, by the way.
Let me explain just a little more thoroughly. So policing organizations or government organizations, they're monopolies inside their given geographic area. They function as cartels with other policing organizations, whether they're on the county level, the city level, or state or federal. They all sort of work together, but they all have their areas that the others don't step on each other's toes. What I'm saying when I say that, and I didn't say policemen, I said policing organizations. And what I mean is that your bosses, their fundamental and most important job is to make sure that the government of your town, whatever that might be, or city or municipality or county or whatever it is, functions tomorrow. Like that, they're protecting. If the siege comes in and the great red horde comes to your community, they're not going to protect my house. They're going to protect the mayor's house. And that's the point I'm trying to make here is that when they solve crimes, they do them, these policing organizations do them for the protection of the state. That's what's in their interest. I believe the police officers do them in many cases for all the right reasons, right? Like brave people in many cases that want to serve their community, pick up the badge and take the mantle that has been handed to them with the full intention of doing the very best that they can do. That's not what I'm that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that these organizations, they function with different incentives because they don't have competition.
Well, it's funny because, lately, and I just speak on my behalf, not speak, but it seems like sometimes we feel as police officers that that very organization that you're talking about, the state and everything, take things for granted, and they don't give us the backup we need to really go out there and to be perceived as exactly what you said, go out there and do your job with respect and dignity to the community. And, it's a two-way street on our behalf, and it's been getting a lot worse in the last couple of years because, the laws that they're dumping on us to go out there and do, a lot of older officers look at some of it as being trivial. You go out there, do your job, you respect the law, you respect the people, you do your daily duty, you punch in and you go home and you leave your work at work and your home at home, But in all fairness, it seems like lately it's been more the cutbacks, don't be that harsh and heavy on people, and really putting the pressure on you. If you're not that type of a person, then you hear this, and it's just sad. It's
just to be clear, I'm not sure what you're saying. They're putting pressure on you, the officer, to do what?
Well, okay, you go in your morning briefing, and they they'll tell you. We need you to hit an area and check and clean it up. Like you're saying, okay? Clean up this area. This park's got a bunch of riffraff hanging around. But they don't realize that as a police officer, you already have a relationship with the people that are out there. The parks have riffraff, street people, people who are homeless. Mm-hmm. You already know these people.
Right.
And you have a good rapport with them. That's part of your job, to go out there. And if they aren't doing anything wrong, really, to be honest with you, hey, no harm, no foul, guys.
So you're saying you feel like you're being told to go and cause issues with people that you really don't need to be messing with?
Well, not on an unofficial basis, yes. On some cases, I feel that what you're saying in a lot of ways may be somewhat true in the way they, like you say, upper management hears it from, say, the mayor or you have a dignitary coming into town, say like.
So they're trying to impress somebody, is what you're saying.
And it's not even about oppressing people.
No,
It's not
impress.
even about
Impress. Yeah.
Impress. It's not even about impressing people. It's about going out there and doing your job and maintaining that rapport with the people.
Well, unfortunately, when politics gets in the way of doing the right thing, it can be really problematic. Hey, Patrick, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, because if you don't do what you're told to, then they can come after you. They can, make it so you have to work the overnight shift or whatever the undesirable shifts are for the police. They'll put you there and possibly do worse.
I just want to say I really appreciate Patrick's call, because I've actually been thinking about this, and one mistake I think a lot of like small government types, libertarians, anarchists, I think they give a lot of unnecessary heat to the police, which understandable, because they're the enforcement arm of these the government cronies and stuff.
Yeah, not all of them are bad guys.
Yeah, they're normal people, they're normal individuals. Yeah, you'll have a few bad apples and stuff, like some of the cops I've met with who are like control freaks, but I mean,
they
just
say
a bunch.
Few bad apples spoils the whole bunch. That's the thing.
And so there's one. At one point I wanted to be a police officer. I wanted to be a detective, but that's something else. And I don't know. I think it's if you're a libertarian thinking about have an interest in law enforcement but don't want to go in because you think, oh, I'll be oppressing people, I wouldn't let that stop you, because we need good people becoming police officers who respect the constitutional laws like Patrick. So thank you very much.
I'd rather have a libertarian as a police officer, because I know they're going to look the other way on a lot of stuff. We had a guy who was a TSA agent who told us that on more than one occasion he saw people with marijuana, for instance, in their bags, and he just passed them through. So that's the kind of person I'd like to see in those roles. But I realize that in order to get to that point, there's usually a period of total obedience that you have to get through, and that I think could be really hard for somebody who's a principled libertarian or voluntarist, somebody who does not want to initiate force against peaceful people. If in that first initial trial period for them, once they get hired, like, oh well, now you're not tenured yet or whatever, right? Like, because it's harder over time to fire a government bureaucrat, but there's like an initial phase frequently where they can just go ahead and fire you for any reason.
They give preference hiring in some places. They give preference hiring to veterans because they know they know a lot of these vets. Nothing against them, but they know how to follow orders.
They're obedient.
Yeah.
So in that probationary period, if they tell you to go and arrest some Johns who are trying to hire hookers, or they tell you to go and arrest some college students for smoking weed or whatever, and you don't do it, then you could probably lose your job.
And pension, too.
I can understand why somebody wouldn't want to go through that, and I don't blame them for it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. But if it's not that way in your department, I'd love to hear about it. Hour 2's coming up. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL.
The Blockchain Education Network has had a busy fall semester introducing, educating, and giving away Bitcoin. The initiative believes wholeheartedly that students should understand cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Now the organization is ramping up its efforts to educate the academic masses, offering a bounty to students who help build a syllabus. The Blockchain Education Network has set aside a total of 4 Bitcoin to divide between students who add content. To learn more, go to news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 21st, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,266 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $634. Antiwar.com reports the Russian ceasefire in Aleppo, initially 8 hours, but since extended to 11, has now been extended through Saturday, insisting they want to support efforts to get civilians out of the Nusra Front-held portions of Aleppo. There were reports of skirmishes on the ground near one of the designated evacuation zones, but no Russian airstrikes. The evacuations are slow-going so far, with pro-rebel activists urging civilians not to leave, claiming the ceasefire is a Russian lie and that the Russians will exterminate every civilian who tries to leave through the zones. The lack of formal UN involvement in the evacuation has also deterred many. That may change, however, with UN humanitarian officials saying they're planning a formal medical evacuation for wounded civilians on Friday, having received assurances that the ceasefire will last through that period. They did warn, however, that getting it organized that quickly will be difficult and anything could still go wrong to stop it. The US and EU have been pressuring Russia to halt all airstrikes against Aleppo permanently, while Russia has been urging them to get everyone away from the Al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front. While Russia has extended the ceasefire with the eye towards that happening, so far nothing is happening. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more. UPI reports a man slashed his own throat in a Santa Ana, California courtroom moments after he was convicted of sexual assault charges, according to local officials. Jeffrey Scott Jones, a former high school English teacher from Huntington Beach, California, cut his throat with a straight razor Wednesday immediately after he learned jurors had found him guilty of sexually assaulting a female teenage relative of his girlfriend. He was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Jones was out on bail during his trial. Senior Deputy District Attorney Heather Brown said right after the judge asked if we wanted jurors polled, both attorneys said no. He then took a razor out of his left pocket and slashed his throat. His head hit the table and I thought he'd fainted, but I saw the blood and the razor on the table. Lieutenant Mark Stitcher of the Orange County Sheriff's Office said there will be an investigation into how Jones was able to have a razor in the court and provide answers to that. Jurors deliberated for about 2 hours before arriving at a guilty verdict on 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 1 count of continuous sexual abuse. Jones faces up to 66 years in prison. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports U.S. safety regulators confirmed late Thursday an 11th death in the United States caused by a ruptured Takata Corporation airbag inflator, the latest fatality tied to the largest ever auto safety recall. At least 16 deaths, including 5 in Malaysia, are now linked to the defect that prompted the recall of nearly 100 million airbag inflators worldwide by more than a dozen automakers. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said a 50-year-old woman died after a September 30th crash in Riverside, California in a a 2001 Honda Civic that was first recalled in 2008 and never repaired. This is the first U.S. death reported from a Takata inflator since a 17-year-old high school senior died in Texas in March in a moderate-speed crash. Automakers have fixed about 11.4 million inflators in the United States thus far, leaving more than 20 million unrepaired. The defective airbag inflators deploy with too much force, sending metal fragments flying. Honda said in a statement on Thursday that more than 20 recall notices were mailed over nearly 8 years to the registered owners of the vehicle in the deadly California crash. Takata spokesman Jared Levy said the tragedy underscores the importance of replacing those airbag inflators that have been recalled by automakers. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
It's The Onion Radio News. General Motors reports record sales of its new disposable car. This is Doyle Redland reporting. General Motors has announced a 56% increase in earnings this year, attributing much of it to February's wildly successful launch of the GMC Whim, the first ever non-refillable disposable automobile. Debuting at a cost of $1,100 each, the vehicles are flying out of showrooms as quickly as dealers can stock them. Whim enthusiast Glenn Shriver.
I recently consumed 4 vehicles driving from my home to Daytona Beach for the first annual Whim Owners Convention. I've already collected all 8 colors.
Rival automakers are preparing to counter with their own lines of disposable cars, including the Ford Temporare and the Chrysler Dumper. The 2002 Mitsubishi Ditch will be unveiled later this year with a projected sticker price of $799. Doyle Redland for The Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Just dial in toll free here as we launch into the second hour of the program. Coming up, some ridiculous clown news with apparently Target banning clown masks from its stores, or at the very least removing them for this season. In addition, Mark, you have some clown-related news as well about Mississippi Town just banning any kind of clown mask whatsoever. If you're seen in a clown mask, you're going to possibly get a ticket or arrested. We'll tell you more about that coming up here in a bit. With you tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Mark.
And in the last hour, we were talking about some of the internet outages that happened today. Some pretty major outages from some major websites like Twitter, PayPal, GitHub, SoundCloud, and WikiLeaks seems to believe that it is their supporters who are somehow showing their strength by attacking these websites. I don't know what evidence WikiLeaks has for that. Maybe there's something that they know that we don't.
Assange has been known to troll on Twitter occasionally, so it might just be that, but I don't know.
Well, Assange, I guess we didn't really explain. Julian Assange is the head of WikiLeaks, and WikiLeaks is the organization that has been releasing these tens of thousands of emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign staff and the Clinton Foundation, etc. And so now Julian Assange has been on this asylum kind of thing where he's been holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy for several years now at this point. And we don't know what's going to be happening. It seems like the Ecuadorian embassy has cut his internet access. They're claiming that it wasn't the United States who put them up to it, but they're not. I don't know if they've explained why they cut his internet access.
It probably costs more money than their budget allows.
Good point.
He's uploading thousands of documents.
No, he's not. He's not doing all that.
He can get whatever money he needs sent to him from Wikipedia to cover the internet connection.
All he is, not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks, I'm sorry.
All he is the face of WikiLeaks. I think it's important for people to remember this. WikiLeaks has other people who work for them. Like, there are other people behind the scenes at WikiLeaks, the people who work on the website and field emails and, what, I don't know how big the staff is, but I've seen there are other people there. It's not just Julian Assange. If he dies tomorrow, WikiLeaks goes on. If they put Julian Assange in a prison cell, WikiLeaks will continue. They have contingency plans. They have second in charges and thirds in charges and things like that. They're ready for this. You don't get to the point where Assange is and, not have a dead man switch or whatever, right? So let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also Skype at username LRN.FM, and that's where Ricky is in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
Good evening, Brother Ian. And I believe that's Brother Mark, is it not?
We have Mark, Vincent, Ian. Go ahead, Ricky.
Vincent, hey there, Vincent. You might find tonight's topic a little interesting. I was going to hit on this the other night because I know Parker called in. I remember the last time we spoke, I remember you said something, I think it was you, Vincent, when I mentioned about being a Jeffersonian. You found it interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's only interesting the first time. He'll keep talking about it until it's driven you insane. Go ahead, Ricky.
Well, I don't know about that. Now, here's what it comes down to. It's called good government. Now, let's go back.
Can't have
Sounds like an oxymoron, but okay, please continue.
It's not possible.
No,
go
please,
ahead.
please
go ahead.
Okay. Let's go back to a couple hundred years ago when the Federalists took all the money. The Constitution of the United States of America with its holes in it was thrown away, the advent of the Anti-Federalists. And you know what? By the time Jefferson became president in 1801, he took
then, yeah.
Yeah, we were broke. The money was gone. I mean, we were broke, literally. Now, but get this, and I'm going to tell you how he did this. Within the first term, but then going into the second term, put all the damn money back and then some to bring us forward after the fragmentation into our modern era. Now, I can tell you how he did that. This is called good government. It's what he called absolute. This is why he was against the Constitution of the United States of America, which it was covered on your show. You see, imagine this case scenario. Here's how we fix the economy and everything else. Now, imagine this, power in the people. Good example. Look at our Constitution here in Pennsylvania. It's called Power in Peoples. It's one of the sections within Article I.
What does that have to do with how whoever it was fixed the economy? I missed the name.
Jefferson, and I'm going to explain it to you if you let me, Ian.
I don't know if I
stop
want
bringing
to.
it back to Pennsylvania, because here's what you do, Ricky, is every time you mention the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you alienate 49 states and every other person out there who's listening. Pennsylvania is not some kind of bastion of freedom. It doesn't even show up on Mercatus, the Mercatus Center's Freedom in the 50 States
I have
chart
like
in the top
half
10.
my relatives live there and they hate it.
Then answer this one, Mark. Why is it the most important of the three states for beyond my lifetime?
States?
Florida, California, and little old PA.
What?
Oh, I think he's talking about electoral.
As far as the Electoral College? Okay, so you
have
have a mix of Republicans and Democrats. Big, fat, hairy deal.
Out of curiosity, what part of, you don't have to say this, you don't want to out yourself as your identity or something, but what part of Pennsylvania?
Go ahead.
What part of Pennsylvania do you live in?
Monroe County.
Monroe. Okay. How close is that to Philly?
Pretty far, actually. It's about 3 hours. Philadelphia got a lot of problems. Philadelphia is a good example of PA.
Yeah, my most of my family, they live within the city limits of Philly, so that's my reference point.
All right,
okay,
so what's
go
this
ahead,
about Jefferson?
By not wanting to talk about Pennsylvania, we have
cleaning up
talked
the
about
world
Pennsylvania.
or whatever.
Here's how good government work and how we can fix everything. Now, first of all, the Constitution of the United States of America, you guys just covered it the other night. I believe it was you, Mark. You actually started covering it. And you pointed out about how it's viewed. This is why Jefferson threw it away. This is why people in the states get screwed into court. Now, here's what you do. Now, imagine this. What Jefferson did when he was alive, we had what he called good government. Basically, it was absolute. The government, the people, the power in the people. He wanted to fill up a whole country filled with Pennsylvanias of independent, sovereign commonwealths, the power in the people.
The yeoman, I think, right? Yeah, he idealized the yeoman farmer.
Yeah, he loved the idea that everybody would be agrarian. But I mean, those Jeffersonian ideas aren't going to work anymore.
So,
in the 20th century, the United States turned a corner, and more people live in the cities than they do in the burbs.
So, would you prefer the Articles of Confederation then?
Yes, and I can give you a solution on this. Now, imagine this. Now, they talk about the law of the land. Now, in Pennsylvania, you guys don't believe me, fine, whatever. I can prove what I say. We don't have the Constitution of the United States of America and the Bill of Rights.
Yes,
We have our law of the land.
I'll bet you I'll bet you kids in civics class learn the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, New Hampshire has its own constitution. I didn't learn that. No one learned that.
I was taught as a statist, and you know what? If I would go on that, I get screwed in court and right and left because you know what? When it comes, example, Second Amendment versus Section 21. There's a reason why the NRA is never around PA. Okay, unless they're dragged in here.
What are you talking about?
Wait, please let him continue. I'm
in...
curious about this. Please let him continue.
Come on. This is some kind of wild, crazy conspiracy theory.
Thanks for the call,
Please.
Ricky. I've had it.
The Constitution doesn't apply to
PA.
Pennsylvania. Be serious.
Well, now, hey, I volunteered for the NRA in New Hampshire, and they only had one person working on it. Yeah, because New Hampshire is one of the best, gun freedom states. But, they had at least one person working on it, and they had like 5 people in Ohio working, like full-time paid members in Ohio working in there.
See, that's the thing with Ricky. He talks and talks and talks and never actually gets to a point.
True.
He supposedly was going to tell us about how Jefferson saved
he can't get
America.
to a point if he keeps on getting erupted, but when he keeps on throwing things out that sound unlike facts.
I pulled out Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania State Constitution.
We've already done that. It is meaningless.
Oh, okay. I mean, all right. This is the second time I've ever talked to Ricky, so I was interested in it. Okay.
What does it say?
I'm sorry.
What's it say? I don't remember.
This is on
Maybe it was
website
Article
Smart
26.
Gun Laws, which is some anti-Second Amendment site, in my opinion. Article 1, Section 21 of Pennsylvania State Constitution states, the right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned.
Okay, there you go.
Themselves is
I'm
good.
not sure what the relevance
defense
of it is.
Well, I think he's saying it's better worded than the Second Amendment. I can't interpret what he said, but that's what I imagine it to be.
Well, I can tell you that Pennsylvania's Constitution pales in comparison to New Hampshire's when you look at its right to bear arms.
Well, the New Hampshire,
persons, it doesn't say citizens because citizens is a lie. All persons have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves.
But in the end, it doesn't matter because FFLs have all the power. You can't get it's very hard to get a gun without through an FFL, which is
sorry.
The
government's messed it up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if we're going to talk about the value of constitutions, which none of these people care about, the law enforcement agencies in Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, the federal government aren't going to say, "Oh, turns out you've got your right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I guess we should just leave you alone."
Yeah. 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-1063. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-945-1063. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-945-1063. That's 1-800-945-1063.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Investment Rarities, a 43-year-old company, has created the best silver offer ever. Get a U.S. Silver Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, Austrian Philharmonic, OPM Pure Bar, and Silver Round. Have all 5 for $99 postpaid. You heard me right, 5 ounces of silver below cost. No credit card fees, free shipping. Just $99 and you'll have a great start on what it takes to survive even the worst economic storm. Act now and receive Jim Cook's exclusive paper explaining how it's possible to make a fortune in silver today. Don't miss this opportunity. Call 800-328-1860. Read how the above-ground supply of silver has dropped below even gold. The secret is being suppressed. The price could explode at any time. Call today at 800-328-1860. Get 5 ounces of silver for only $99. Find them on the web at investmentrarities.com or call 800-328-1860. Call now before it's too late. 800-328-1860.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveatpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up anything you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you had just one day to teach someone about economics, what would you tell them? Well, if you don't have the answer, that's okay, because for over 70 years, the Foundation for Economic Education has been providing free resources to teachers and students. Their newest course, Economics in One Day, will give you a breadth and depth of knowledge on how economics works that you'll be able to teach to others. Fee gives you tools for that, and you can take Economics in One Day right now for free over at fee.org/FTL. That's fee.org/FTL, and you'll learn key economic concepts, the inspiring vision that the market economy brings, and the challenges that government solutions face. Start today at no charge. Fee.org/FTL. That's fee.org/FTL, and learn why entrepreneurship matters. And, of course, you can bring up anything you want here on Free Talk Live. It's Ian, Vincent, and Mark in the studio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And, yes, of course, the NRA is active in Pennsylvania. I mean, just ridiculous claims from that last caller. You can, of course, take control of the airwaves, bring whatever nonsense up you want, or maybe something enlightening and useful. You know, it's up to you. You decide. Meanwhile, we bring stuff to the table like the latest on the clown insanity out there. I mean, this clown thing. I actually just watched a React episode about this last night. They had
What is React?
React is a channel on YouTube where they have people sitting, usually watching a computer monitor and reacting to something. So sometimes it's, you know, something pop culture-y, like a new movie trailer for Star Wars or something like that. Other times it's music related. Sometimes they'll play like virtual reality, which is really fun to watch.
Is it the Fine Bros? Is it their channel?
Yep,
oh, they're
channel.
disgusting. I mean, after they tried to copyright the word react on YouTube.
Well, you know, that was a mistake on their part, but I'm not going to hold it against the people that come to do the reacting. They're a variety of people they have. They've got elders react, and they've got kids react, and teens react, and then they have parents react. So they had parents react to clown videos. And I hadn't seen any of these videos yet. Now, Vincent, you're a lot younger, and so, like, have you seen any of these videos where people are dressed as clowns, some of them doing pretty silly things?
I saw one of like a clown trying to jump on a car and then it like fell off. I don't know if it was real or not.
I think they're all fake.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed a series of them, so they showed like 5
I've
or
seen
6
like spooky pictures, mainly in like black and white, of people out there in like scary clown outfits, doing Halloween proud, as far as I can tell.
No, I've seen those pictures, but I hadn't seen the videos up until I watched the React episode. And they just all seem staged. It just all seems so unbelievable that somebody would, you know, happen to see a clown in this circumstance, and the things that happened.
I saw one while I was driving down the street. A couple of teenage boys, out in clown outfits, and they were likely trying to scare the neighbors or whatever they were doing.
Oh, I'm not saying there aren't clowns out there. I'm just saying that the videos that are being put out there are of the friends of the teenage boys.
I
right?
suspect that's the case.
They're all setups, basically.
There's a Reddit there's a Reddit post of some guy. He said he photoshopped a clown into a picture of it on his campus, and he said, it was on I messed up the subreddit because it was like a very rich college campus.
Did they shut down the campus?
Oh yeah, they had he claims they had SWAT teams show up. They had police combing the area. It was crazy.
Now,
it's ridiculous.
So I'm on the cusp. I'm 45 years old. This whole I'm scared of clowns bullcrap came after me. And some people, there's a lot of people, and I would say mostly younger people, that substituted phobias for personality, right? I'm scared of this. That makes me interesting. I'm scared of that.
Exactly,
it makes me interesting. No, it doesn't. It makes you a moron. Okay? I mean, clowns are A, acrobats, entertaining people in circuses, B, helpful people that go to hospitals to visit sick children. If you're scared of either one of these, it's because something's wrong with you. Okay? That's all there is. There is no excuse for an adult to be afraid of clowns. You are an adult. The person in the clown outfit is another adult who has makeup on. Okay? They're not scary. This is not a Stephen King novel. Yes, it was a great novel, but you're acting like a moron.
Did you read
I don't think every St. Bernard's going to rip my throat out.
Did you read the novel?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I've read a lot of Stephen King. I was left unscarred when it came to clowns. It's ridiculous.
I mean, this almost seems like kind of the more legal equivalent of swatting. So we've talked about swatting here on Free Talk Live, which is where usually a teenager of some sort
gamer,
or a young 20-something or whatever, a male typically, will call the police from some number and claim that they've held up or they're holding someone hostage in some location,
but they have a gun,
right, or whatever. Yeah, and so then the police suit up. They're ready for this. They've trained for this. This is their moment. They get in the Bearcat, the armored personnel carrier. They get all their guns and they go out and they raid the place looking for whoever it was. And turns out there's nobody there, or it was some grandmother or whatever, or it was like one of their people they were fighting on some server.
Yeah. They come in and they see the guy sitting on his chair with his
playing
computer.
video games.
And then they turn around and they're like, get on. There's video of that happening live. Yeah, I've seen it. It's fun. It's funny, but
no, it's
ridiculous. Well, okay.
It wouldn't be funny if it was happening to you, right? So, no, it's not funny when you've got a bunch of men with itchy trigger fingers pointing guns at you and yelling at you. I mean, there's just no circumstance in which that would be a fun thing to do.
I can see how police with guns is just so normal. We see it on TV a lot, but I saw this. We read this article at one point. I think it was a optometrist in Virginia who was running a Final Four, the March Madness gambling,
office gambling pool.
A pool.
Yeah.
And they had him on the ground with, the SWAT team has to go in because God knows you wouldn't send in Andy Griffith and Barney Fife in there, just to get him and say, hey, look, you can't do this anymore, or you got to come with me or whatever. You got to send in the SWAT team because this is an optometrist office, and they could, I don't know, shine a light in your eyes or something. And so they had the guy down on his knees because you got to make a big deal about this. And then one of the officers accidentally pulled the trigger and shot him right in the head.
Yep,
okay,
that's right.
Because these people are the C students in a lot of cases. I'm not saying they're
the SWAT. You mean
everybody makes mistakes. But I knew law enforcement officers, and then I knew who was on the SWAT team. And the people who were on the SWAT team were different than the other ones. The other ones are there to make a dime, make a dollar. The ones on the SWAT team, gung ho. I can't wait to crack somebody's skull.
So the point I was getting at there, though, was the sort of the interest I think that somebody has in swatting, the person who calls the police, is to see the reaction. They want to see, not only do they want to prank the person that they're doing it to, but they also want to see the cops go out and do this. They want to see that they have that power. Like, oh, I made this phone call. All these cops came out. Look at this big commotion that I caused with my phone call. Well, if you do a swatting, and they're going to investigate you, and if you get caught, you're going to be charged, and you'll deserve it in that case. But if you walk onto a campus with a clown outfit, or near a campus with a clown outfit, in any place where, like New Hampshire, it's not illegal to put a mask on in New Hampshire. I don't know how many states are like that, but It's my understanding, at least, that it's not illegal.
There's days and evenings in New Hampshire that if you don't have a mask on, you will lose your face.
You've essentially done the same thing as someone who's called in a swatting without actually having to call the police, because they're just reacting insanely to somebody wearing clown makeup.
But the difference is it's the police's job to respond to that. People on campus, it's not their job to do it. Like, students, they don't have to.
It's not a police officer's job to respond to somebody in a clown outfit.
That's true. We can continue here. 8:55.
It's nobody's job to respond to a clown.
Yeah, exactly.
Anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Why be held hostage by your wireless carrier for 2 years? What if you had no contract, no activation fees, no hidden costs, tracking, tracing, harvesting customer data, or draconian gimmicks? All on America's largest 4G LTE, GSM, and Sprint networks. Introducing Pix Wireless. Activate your Sprint, AT&T, or unlock GSM phones with Pix and choose from an arsenal of monthly plans or build your own. Starting at only $2.99 per month. Get connected now. Call or click 1-866-205-9513 or PixWireless.com, spelled PIXWireless.com. Pick Pix and get connected today.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free. Join us here The number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Mark.
Join us in February. Mark and I are going to be going down south to Acapulco, Mexico for Anarchapulco. And you should go because it's the third year for this world's foremost conference for voluntarist thinkers and activists. It's held annually in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. They bring hundreds of principled anarchists together to share ideas on how to live free and escape the clutches of the state and central banks. Their unparalleled lineup of speakers will discuss entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships for 4 days among the sun and beaches of a world-class resort. Some of the speakers will include Jeffrey Tucker, Larkin Rose, Milo Yiannopoulos. Heard a lot about that guy. Not sure how, I don't know if he's an anarchist, but
he's clever.
Yeah, he'll be there. Adam Kokesh, Jeff Berwick, Roger Veer, Luke Radowski, Josie Wales, Derek J. Freeman, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, Tone Faze, Lauren Rumpler, Carlos Morales, Christopher David, Lauren Young, Rosalind Ross, Julia Taransky, Dana Martin, and I'm sure there's probably more that have yet to be announced. Go to anarchapulco.com. Get your early bird tickets. It's February 25th through the 28th at the Mundo Imperial Resort and Expo. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys down there. Again, Anarchapulco, February 25th through the 28th. Early bird tickets available now at anarchapulco.com. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. You can take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever you want. Doug is in Illinois. You're on Free Talk Live, listening via TuneIn. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, hi. Pretty much what I want to talk about the whole cop issue. I mean, I'm not anti-cop. I'm about the reality of it. I've never had an issue where I've been in trouble with the law. But I've known many people that have worked on a department. And while you had me on hold here, I've been going over in my head the amount of people that I've known. I've known about 9 of them. And out of the 9, I can surely tell you that 8 out of the 9 should have never worked on a department.
Wow.
They were continually bragging about how they beat the crap out of a guy and they enjoyed it. I mean, I remember one who got worked up where he beat the crap out of a guy and the fire department complained, "What did you do?" And he felt that, the fire department should have never even brought that up to him, that, he should be allowed to beat the crap out of the guy if he wanted to and beat him bloody if he wanted to. And, the fire department should not be involved in that at all. They should treat him and that should be it. I can remember driving with a bunch of them when they were off duty, not in their cop car, in their own vehicle, weaving in and out of traffic, driving like a bat out of hell. They had nothing to fear. I mean, for the fact that they had their badge on them, and if they were pulled over, they felt that they were above the law. A bunch of them that felt that, they got a thrill out of throwing people in jail. They loved it. And then the 9th one, the one that really should have been a cop.
So this is one thing that would be very difficult for me. I'm not saying I'm the most empathetic guy around or anything like that, but it would be difficult for me to give somebody a ticket when I know I've sped, right? Like,
I'd make you a hypocrite.
I mean, if you catch the same guy over and over again, or maybe you note on their record that you caught them or something like that, but it seems like there's an opportunity to teach people, because that's what the idea here is that these punishments are intended to teach. Well, letting somebody know that, hey, we caught you, and the next time is a punishment is also a way to modify behavior. Now, I got lots of tickets. They never changed my speeding behavior. What changed my speeding behavior for me was when I was in a terrible high-speed accident on I-75 down in Bradenton, Florida, in the middle of a rainstorm, because some lady decided she didn't want to hit a dog that had wandered out in the middle of the road. Now, it wasn't my fault or anything like that, but I realized, and we weren't even going that much over the speed limit if we were going over at all. I just realized these high-speed accidents are nothing to mess with. So
right, but you eventually move on from okay, well, I can get away with giving a guy a ticket for not turning on a directional, and then I can get away with not turning on the directional, or I can get away with doing 30 over the limit, where I'm going to pull that guy over and give him a ticket for doing 5 over the limit, and then you have it move on to, well, I'm a cop, I can get away with beating the crap out of a guy. Not far behind that, you have to the point where you get to like Eric Garner, where you're choking a guy to death, like what happened in New York.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you eventually move on when you don't have the accountability. And another mention of it can be the people that are coming back from the Iraq War, we give them a credit when they take the written to apply for, to be a cop. There are a lot of people that are not going to agree with me. I don't think that we should be encouraging that type of people in the infantry where they have been over there killing people.
I agree.
To come over here and be a cop. I mean, you don't need that mentality here. They become immune to killing people. They become immune to beating the crap out of
not
people.
only that, but they're also very used to being obedient and being told what to do, generally.
Right. And I think that, okay, like the one guy that I did know, the ninth one who had been a good cop, I can remember him telling me, oh yeah, rather than pick up a guy and throw him in jail for being drunk out in public, I went ahead and I drove him home.
Wow.
Well, he quit. He quit. He couldn't deal with all the bad people that were there. And, the majority of the human nature and human behavior can be to follow. I mean, you don't have that end in like 8th grade, man, where, peer pressure and that.
We've heard it over and over again where former cops, the purported good guys have told us the same story where they were so frustrated with the corruption that would rise through the ranks. It wasn't just the guys that are in the cruisers. It's all the way up to the chief. The corruption was so bad that they just didn't want to be there anymore.
And if they don't go along with it, sometimes they get bullied out of it too.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Doug, thanks for your call tonight, man. I appreciate you sharing that. And you know what? He actually reminded me of some show prep that I had. We could do every night. We could have at least one, if not more than one, bad cop story. If we all we'd have to do is go to copblock.org and photographyisnotacrime.com. That's all we'd have to do. We could do that every night and have those stories.
And those are horrifying ones. Those aren't the average run-of-the-mill ones.
But there's like I think 100,000 cops in the U.S. or maybe like around that number.
Sure.
So there are a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no doubt that most of them didn't get in trouble.
100,000? I feel like it's going to be way more than that.
I could look it up.
I'd be curious to see that.
It's just a high number.
Because I know there's like 25,000 traffic cops alone in New York City.
We can look that up during the break, but I mean, the reality of it is that those police, whomever are breaking the law, had people with whom they worked who, for whatever reason, overlooked what they did, often for years. So and those people who were doing the overlooking were cops.
I think this is relevant to this discussion. I'm going to bring it in here because it's just an absolutely outrageous story from photographyisnotacrime.com. Do not effing reach! An enraged Los Angeles sheriff's deputy shouted after pulling out his gun on a licensed private investigator sitting in his car in a residential neighborhood working on a case. But all Ken Shepard was doing was reaching toward his ear to remove his cell phone earpiece in order to better hear the deputy. However, that was enough to make Deputy Ty Plunkett fear for his life, where he kept a gun pointed at Shepard's head.
So he was reaching for his head?
Haven't you heard of your head holster?
That's right. Where my gun, I have it slipped in my ear.
He kept the gun pointed at Shepard's head this entire time with trembling hands and his finger in the trigger guard, like sitting on the trigger. Oh. I mean, I watched this video.
This is why I have a camera in my car that's recording all the time, so that you look, you can do this and you can pull a gun on me, but I'm going to have that video and it's going on YouTube and you're going to look like a fool who can't handle a weapon.
This is one of the most intense scenes that I've seen in a while. Now, to be fair, I don't watch all the cop killing videos or whatever just because I'm sick of seeing it. There's just so much violence by police against innocent, peaceful people. It's sickening.
And I hear about 1.1 million cops.
And
1.1 million. That's a big factor.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
It's a factor. Go ahead.
And the thing, well, from what I hear, Los Angeles is the Los Angeles cops are really bad. That's if you remember Eric Dorner. He went on his killing spree because he tried to expose how bad the LAPD was, and then they fired him and harassed him, and then he just snapped. So it's bad enough for him to snap.
So the man had trembling hands, and it is described here at Photography is Not a Crime, in a surreal scene seemingly out of the movie. Shepard, who again was the man in the car, the innocent man, says, "Man, you need to put your weapon down," remaining surprisingly composed. Another deputy walked up, and Shepard addresses her, hoping she'll defuse the situation. We'll tell you more about what happened here. It's just an insane video, and I'll link to it on our Twitter if it's online, and Facebook. It's Free Talk Live. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. HealthExcellenceSelect.com. HealthExcellenceSelect.com.
If you had one day to teach someone economics, what would you say? We would say that innovation and prosperity requires economic freedom. Visit fee.org/courses and check out Economics in One Day, a crash course in free market economics that you can present to your community. For over 70 years, the Foundation for Economic Education has been a champion of liberty. Start today at no charge by visiting fee.org/courses and learn why economic freedom matters.
Is negative content or comments on the web affecting your personal or professional reputation? Unfavorable comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and negative articles can ruin your personal life, your career, or your business. It happens a lot, and it's just not fair. But what can you do? ReputationDefender.com can help protect your good name. Get a free consultation now. Call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis from ReputationDefender.com right now. Call 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com today.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up anything that you want. And if you would like to support what we're doing here, you can do that by shopping with us at shop.freetalklive.com. Hey, it's pretty much the Christmas season at this point. I mean, Halloween is right around the corner.
Ramping up for it, I suppose.
The Christmas displays at the various department stores always start before Halloween these days. So, I mean, here we are. You're probably looking for some gifts. Well, good place to go is Amazon, and you can do that. You can get your shopping done and help Free Talk Live all at the same time by starting your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. You enter Amazon UK, Canada, or Amazon US through the right link for you, and then Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale. A very simple process. Toll-free number here, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. So once again, shop.freetalklive.com. We're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts. We'll talk more about this bad cop here in a moment. First, we got Jeff in Illinois. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Have you heard about the sheriff from Kentucky that was, I don't know if he was growing hemp. Look up hemp sheriff from Kentucky on your while we're talking. And he was also on with a police chief last night, and they were, I think they were not like writing out stupid traffic tickets for, say, what do they call that, seat belts and things like that. And if he had to go and arrest somebody on a warrant instead of busting in their house and, making a big scene, he would just call them up and say, hey, I got a warrant. Can you come down here? You know what I mean?
And this is called the Hemp Sheriff? Hemp Sheriff?
I know he's from Kentucky sheriff, and then was hyphen hemp, and he was talking about that. And apparently this stuff, what he's referring to as hemp, is not the same as the drugs. That
right.
Apparently
so hemp is hemp is basically a form of marijuana that doesn't have any THC in it, or enough to be noticeable.
It's not usable as drugs, but yet they still apparently outlaw it.
It's usable for industrial purposes.
I don't think that they can teach police officers to tell the difference, and that might be the problem.
That's the trouble.
There is a way to tell the difference, but your average officer is not going to retain likely that information.
Yeah, and there's also. Have you guys heard of carrot bars? This is a money question. Is a form
carrot
of currency.
Bars.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
Like 24 karat.
Exactly.
I've heard of gold. I don't know what a carrot bar is.
Well, I imagine that'd be expensive because it must be more than an ounce, like the kind you see in like cartoons.
What is a carrot bar?
Okay, thank you. So I heard about this in the Truth Traveler, and that's where the sheriff was on last night too. So a carrot bar, from what my understanding of it is, it's like the size of a credit card, and a German company prints these out, and they actually have gold inside of them, like grains of gold, a small amount of gold, so that you're able to afford it. So you're not having to spend $1,400 on an ounce of gold. You could spend under $100 and get some gold, and then you could actually use these as currency because they have the information with them validating that they're gold.
Yeah, I think that this what they've got here is basically they look like little credit cards and they contain a gram of gold, and so a gram is obviously significantly less than an ounce, and you can begin to use it to do things. So yeah. A gram
looks like they're a network marketing company as well, so look out. There's a lot of scams in that particular field.
Look into it. And here's the other thing: there's a thing called window farms, and you can grow vegetables indoors, and you can get pumps and whatever, and
I hope it works because I tried to grow some tomatoes indoors in my windows, and all we got was a bunch of leggy plants that never had any fruit on them.
Jeff, thanks for your call, man. Appreciate it. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to TJ the Spy. He is in, I don't know where. Where are you tonight, TJ?
Tonight I'm in Illinois, my good sir, heading back to Colorado.
Okay, then. What's up?
Well, I just wanted to call and tell you about this amazing thing that happened to me today. James, my wonderful spouse, was feeling all motion sick, and he was very miserable. And I said, gosh darn it, if only I had meclizine or Dramamine, it's the same thing. And I realized that there are these magical places called CVS that you can go to. And I went to one. And for a mere $7, I got a bunch of pills, and I gave James 2 of them. And in an hour, he said, wow, I feel so much better. And I said, the people who work at CVS are really doing the Lord's work, because I was in dire straits. I mean, I couldn't do anything, and he was miserable. And I went in there, and it was just so amazing.
Motion sickness from? Driving?
He was looking on the phone while I was driving.
Oh,
so
that'll do it.
Yeah, he'll. And I thought,
there's some people who are susceptible.
The younger you are, the less likely it is to do it, and other people just have it. It just doesn't happen to them. I spent a couple of weeks on a boat recently, and it'll just sneak up on you.
Yes, well, that's the wonderful thing. I mean, a lot of people go to jobs that they hate, and they feel like they don't make a difference. I mean, what a awful thing to do to go to a government job every day, and you realize, wow, I can work as hard as I want, as I can, or I can work not at all. I'll still get paid. I won't be fired. but I'll never make a difference. And I really like private jobs. So even if you are the kind of person you go to a job that's minimum wage at like the grocery store or at the gas station.
Cody's working at CBS. Cody O'Connor from Off the Air Live is working at CBS, and he gets paid more.
To that, Ian. It's the joke of the whole thing. You know, I was trying to, cheer Cody up because I know, like,
well, he's not listening right now.
Working at the CBS, I'm like, Cody, you're doing the Lord's work because you're selling things to people who want to buy stuff.
Here's what I recommend.
Coming in and
Cody, I think, is doing his show. Did you hear, Vincent, if he's going to be doing his show tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think he said Saturday, yeah.
Off the Air Live. Normally it's live on Saturday nights. He didn't do it last weekend because he was working at CBS, and it just clashed with it, so he did it on Tuesday night. But I would recommend calling and telling him that because I don't have any clue. I think he's probably not listening because he's actually at CBS right now.
Well, that's fine. I'll call and tell him, too. But I always like to tell the people who are listening, if you're doing a crappy job and you ever come home and you're like, I didn't make a difference today, I think you might be fooling yourself because I'm outside of break time right now, and there's this lady in there, the clerk, and she's going to sell me a mocha frappuccino for like $5. And I thought, I couldn't make this thing for $5. I wouldn't even know how to make this thing for $5. Mm-hmm. And yet it's, very tiny amount of money. I can go in like, wow, we're both better off because she values my magical piece of paper with 5 on it more than she values the mocha.
It's
and
true.
I value the mocha more.
Everybody wins in the market. It's an amazing thing.
There no government official had to tell me to buy the mocha. No, I mean, this kind of magic happens automatically each and every day, and you don't really appreciate it until it's not there.
By the way, at least here in New Hampshire, CBS is not a minimum wage job. He's getting paid more to work a retail job than he was a board operator, or he was actually a newsman. He was doing the morning news on WGAN out in Portland, Maine. I mean, a relatively kind of prestigious position. People would recognize him. The pizza dude was like, "Hey, I recognize your voice." People would recognize his voice because they were listening, and he was getting paid less than he's getting paid at CBS by like a few bucks an hour.
Yep. And that's the wonderful thing. It's wonderful to feel you made a difference each and every day. And of course, people who work in the private sector. The thing about it is, if you weren't worth what they're paying you, they'd have to fire you. Otherwise, the company would go broke. Usually when the government messes up, it's, we didn't spend enough money on it. That's why it failed. So they'll spend even more money and the failures become bigger and bigger. But with private companies, if they mess up, if they keep messing up,
they got to change or die.
Right. And that's how, when you're working at CVS or U-Haul, if you're not producing more than you're getting in pay, then every day they call you back. Will you come into work? It's voluntary. They don't have to have you there, and you don't have to be there. It's the best slavery. I mean, a lot of people call them wage slaves. I think it's slavery of the best order because it's completely voluntary slavery.
Well, I mean, can you really call slavery voluntary? I mean, you can do.
I know what he means, Overs. People
say it's slavery, meaning it's unpleasant, like job. You always said jobs suck.
Yeah,
and
they generally
I think jobs, things that you don't want to do, but you're doing for the money because you need to pay your rent.
Well, it's like what people say is, including my communist friend, it's you work to make money to buy a car, but you need a car to go to work and make money. It's that kind of thing.
It's hard to be poor and not have those things. And where do you start? What do you invest in first? And
I'd rather be poor. I was watching a documentary on Indonesia and watching some of these people for $30 a month haul 150-pound bags of charcoal back to their villages over muddy roads. And I'm like, wow, now that's a job I would not want to do. I would rather sit here and hit a button or answer phone calls or give people their coffees than to have to get on a bike and travel 30 miles to get a 150-pound bag of charcoal.
I heard you. The whole term wage slave, I think, is insulting to people.
To real slaves.
To the whole idea of slavery. You can't put another an adjective in front of the word slave besides wage slave and come up with a situation where somebody is it's a voluntary situation.
And a lot of the people who use that term I see like on message boards, they brag about living in their parents' basements or living off a pension or something. They don't work themselves.
TJ, thanks for the call tonight, man. Appreciate it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. More coming up here. I'll see if I can get some of the audio from this insane video of the cop pulling a gun on a guy and like putting his finger in the trigger guard as he's shaking because of the adrenaline rush. It's crazy. 855-450-FREE plus clown news on the way still. It's Free Talk Live.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Via BTC is the fifth largest mining pool in the world by hash rate distribution. They recently announced they had officially mined their first Bitcoin Unlimited block on October 10th with a Coinbase size vote of 2 megabytes. Almost immediately after Via BTC's appearance at Roger Vere's free speech party in Milan, Italy, the pool announced they would be allocating 100% of their hashing power to mining Bitcoin Unlimited blocks. The team has confirmed they are running Bitcoin Unlimited. To learn more, go to news.bitcoin.com.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 21st, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,266 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $634. Antiwar.com reports the Russian ceasefire in Aleppo, initially 8 hours, but since extended to 11, has now been extended through Saturday, insisting they want to support efforts to get civilians out of the Nusra Front-held portions of Aleppo. There were reports of skirmishes on the ground near one of the designated evacuation zones, but no Russian airstrikes. The evacuations are slow-going so far, with pro-rebel activists urging civilians not to leave, claiming the ceasefire is a Russian lie and that the Russians will exterminate every civilian who tries to leave through the zones. The lack of formal UN involvement in the evacuation has also deterred many. That may change, however, with UN humanitarian officials saying they're planning a formal medical evacuation for wounded civilians on Friday, having received assurances that the ceasefire will last through that period. They did warn, however, that getting it organized that quickly will be difficult and anything could still go wrong to stop it. The US and EU have been pressuring Russia to halt all airstrikes against Aleppo permanently, while Russia has been urging them to get everyone away from the Al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front. While Russia has extended the ceasefire with the eye towards that happening, so far nothing is happening. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more. UPI reports a man slashed his own throat in a Santa Ana, California courtroom moments after he was convicted of sexual assault charges, according to local officials. Jeffrey Scott Jones, a former high school English teacher from Huntington Beach, California, cut his throat with a straight razor Wednesday immediately after he learned jurors had found him guilty of sexually assaulting a female teenage relative of his girlfriend. He was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Jones was out on bail during his trial. Senior Deputy District Attorney Heather Brown said right after the judge asked if we wanted jurors polled. Both attorneys said no. He then took a razor out of his left pocket and slashed his throat. His head hit the table and I thought he'd fainted, but I saw the blood and the razor on the table. Lieutenant Mark Stitcher of the Orange County Sheriff's Office said there will be an investigation into how Jones was able to have a razor in the court and provide answers to that. Jurors deliberated for about 2 hours before arriving at a guilty verdict on 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 1 count of continuous sexual abuse. Jones faces up to 66 years in prison. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports U.S. safety regulators confirmed late Thursday an 11th death in the United States caused by a ruptured Takata Corporation airbag inflator, the latest fatality tied to the largest ever auto safety recall. At least 16 deaths, including 5 in Malaysia, are now linked to the defect that prompted the recall of nearly 100 million airbag inflators worldwide by more than a dozen automakers. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said a 50-year-old woman died after a September 30th crash in Riverside, California, in a 2001 Honda Civic that was first recalled in 2008 and never repaired. This is the first U.S. death reported from a Takata inflator since a 17-year-old high school senior died in Texas in March in a moderate speed crash. Automakers have fixed about 11.4 million inflators in the United States thus far, leaving more than 20 million unrepaired. The defective airbag inflators deploy with too much force, sending metal fragments flying. Honda said in a statement on Thursday that more than 20 recall notices were mailed over nearly 8 years to the registered owners of the vehicle in the deadly California crash. Takata spokesman Jared Levy said the tragedy underscores the importance of replacing those airbag inflators that have been recalled by automakers. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Tides are caused by the moon. The moon's gravitational pull also sucks up the feces and urine of the ocean floor, dumping it in the intertidal zones. The tide goes out, revealing pus-filled cysts known as tide pools, while the moon itself remains hypocritically pristine. Crabs are one of the many disgusting denizens of intertidal pools. They feed on feces and corpses with their demonic mouths. Scuttling hither and thither, they compete relentlessly for the juiciest excrement. Finding a walrus turd is truly nirvana for these abhorrent beasts. After accumulating too much filth to move, crabs bathe themselves in the ocean. Waste floods off the crab's exoskeleton and back into the tide pools as the cycle of begins anew.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still to come, clown news, clown-related news with the clown insanity going on out there, which doesn't really seem to be much more than some teenagers playing pranks on people, ultimately. And people are freaking out about it. You got Target apparently pulling clown masks off the shelves for this season. You've got a town in Mississippi where they've made it illegal to wear a clown mask, presumably even on Halloween. We haven't gotten into the story yet, but Mark, you've got that to share with us tonight. With you in studio, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And Mark.
To start out for here in hour number 3, we touched on a story from photographyisnotacrime.com, one of the best websites on the internet as far as holding police accountable for their actions. They've got the video. They show you all kinds of ridiculous police behavior. In this video that I will play a clip from here in a moment, I'm hoping I was trying to edit it during the news there, so I'm hoping I caught all the F-bombs that this cop drops as he pulls a gun on a private investigator who's sitting in a parking lot. He's just sitting in his, vehicle, observing whatever it was he was doing, and he's doing his private investigation thing. The cop comes up, just kind of inquiring with him because he's a suspicious guy sitting in a vehicle, right? The cop's just kind of investigating this circumstance. And the dude responds relatively calmly to the officer. And at one point, relatively quickly into the video, the cop grabs him by the arm because he wouldn't get out of the car. For no reason, the cop orders him out of the car. And he was like, well, it basically didn't do it right away. So the cop grabs him and tries to pull him out of the vehicle. And the guy in the car is like, whoa, man, whoa. Hey, you don't have a right to touch me like that. They go back and forth on that for a moment.
But I've got my gun out. My gun's out. My gun's out.
No, his gun wasn't out at that point.
I got my badge. You got to listen to my badge.
First off, I think that the police departments across America, here's one thing you can do to immediately change your public perception. Your police officers should not be using foul language with people who haven't used it on them first.
Right. This dude was totally calm, totally cool, and he remains relatively calm even when there's a gun pointed at his head by a man whose adrenaline is pumping so hard he's visibly shaking, and his fingers inside the trigger guard. So I mean, this man could have had his head blasted off by accident in any moment.
It's not acceptable, okay? One of your young punk police officers comes up to me and begins using foul language to me, somebody whose money goes to pay their salaries ultimately. This is just completely inappropriate. It shouldn't happen. And you can't just send them a little notice. Suspend them for a day or two without pay. That'll teach them.
And if you do the same to them and you use that kind of language like he's doing or acts the same way, you get arrested for being belligerent.
No, so maybe that's true.Maybe it's not. It depends.
That's
on the
how I
police
was
officer.
taught. I mean,
they should be able to handle somebody who cusses, and I think they should be able to cuss back.
So at some point, he convinces this officer to let go of his arm, but then his hand then goes and rests on his gun, the officer's gun, and the dude's just sitting there. You can see in the video, one of his arms is up on the door frame, like where the window is rolled down. His arm's just resting there. Yep. So the officer can see that arm in full. And the other one, I believe, is on his steering wheel. Mm-hmm. At one point, he reaches back to remove his earpiece, his Bluetooth earpiece. And that's when this happens in the video.
No, don't be reaching.
Man, I'm taking it.
Don't be reaching.
That was the gun coming out. And him actually, he literally pulls back the hammer on this gun.
A man reaching from his arms on his car window, rolled down window, reaching up to his ear to remove the earpiece. Is that right?
Yeah, as though he's going to grab a gun out of thin air or something like that.
Pull it out from like a back holster, like he's carrying some kind of broadsword. And he's sitting.
You put your gun is shaking, and you pointing your gun at my head.
My gun at your head. Don't reach. I told you.
Man, I my earpiece off.
Reach.
By the way, where he says, man, I took my earpiece off, it's the cop that curses. It wasn't the dude that curses. It could sound like the dude cursed in there. It was in the background, another F word from the cop.
If you can't handle somebody reaching for their earpiece when they're in their car, you've got the wrong job if you're a police officer.
He's got a crazed look in his eye, and he's shaking. I mean, this is an intense video.
Piece off.
Reach.
Man, you need to put your weapon down. You need to put your weapon down, man.
I'm not going to do nothing.
Hey, you need to get over here, senior. He's got down. You need to put your...
That, I believe, is him cocking the hammer back on this guy.
Now, is this guy being detained? Is this guy under arrest?
No.
I mean, this is just some crazy man holding
it was a
gun
contact.
on him.
This was a contact by this police officer.
Right.
Cop saw a guy in a car, went over and talked to him.
Yep.
That's all that happened.
And then because he reached for an earpiece, pulled out a gun and began shaking and trembling.
You need to put your weapon down, man.
I'm not going to do nothing.
Hey, you need to get over here, senior. He's got his weapon at me and he's shaking.
What's going on right now?
Now, earlier in the video, when he had grabbed him by the arm, he demanded, the man in the car was demanding to have a senior officer show up on this scene. So this is the officer who's coming up shortly.
He's shaking.
What's going on right now?
It's nothing going on, deputy. He's got his weapon pointed at my head. I haven't done a thing. He came up here. He put his hands on me. I asked for a watch commander. He's pulling his weapon on me. For what? For what?
I told you what for.
For what?
You're not listening to my commands.
Boom.
Oh.
That's what it is. My forte!
Yep.
The gun comes out when you don't do what I say.
I was given this special shining badge. You better do what I say, boy.
Right.
Yep.
This guy doesn't understand what his legal powers are as a police officer.
Well, actually, he knows he can get away with this kind of stuff because later on, there's more video later where they actually, because I can't go further in that audio, I didn't have time to edit the rest, so there might be another F word in there. But you get the intention here of what I'm trying to show you, which is there's the crazy situation. Finally, like another minute later, this senior officer comes up. The guy in the car starts talking with the senior officer to try to get him to, take your dog away, get this guy away. But put at the very least,
is he still holding a gun?
Yes, there are at least 3 or 4 cops around this,
standing there while this guy holds a gun on this guy.
Right, and finally, I mean, it's just excruciatingly a long time. He finally puts the gun down.
Yeah, officers. Here's another hint: if somebody's saying, watch a senior watch officer or whatever. When they're using your terminology, chances are that they're not going to pull a gun and shoot you.
Yeah. So another deputy...
The term I've heard is OIC, officer in charge.
Another deputy walks up. I'm back to the photography is not a crime right up here. And Shepard, the man in the car, addresses her, hoping she'll defuse the situation. Deputy, he's got a weapon pointed at my head. I haven't done a thing, he told Deputy Caroline Rodriguez. But she also pulls out her gun, further escalating the situation.
Oh, she pulls hers too.
More deputies arrive, including Sergeant Hollis, who eventually got Plunkett to lower his weapon, but only after ordering Shepard out of the car so he could be frisked and handcuffed. They searched his vehicle without a warrant, and when realizing Shepard was breaking no law, the deputies then conspired to fabricate vehicular citations against him in order to justify Plunkett's reckless threat to kill him. So this guy, this cop, knows that he's so well protected, so ensconced within the thin blue line, that even this most blatant, clear, violent, outrageous violation of, what should be basic protocols is being swept under the rug. And his buddies on the squad here are trying to cook up excuses for his behavior. And how do we know this? This isn't speculation. Here's how you know. Because one of these cops is so dumb that when they're searching the car, they take his camera and I believe accidentally start it recording. So this is one of those situations where, or he left it and they didn't turn it off. One or the other. They either accidentally started and he left it recording and they didn't turn it off. But they grab the camera, they walk the camera back to the cruiser where they are, and they're plotting there to set this guy up with a bunch of charges. So they're plotting openly on this camera, not realizing they're being recorded. And you know what the funny thing is about this? Because it's certainly not a funny situation. But there have been multiple times when cops have been caught doing this. Our friend Pete Eyre from copblock.org had this happen to him, where they were the cops had his video camera in their cruiser with him as they're cooking up charges to come at him with, just so they can justify what they've done. So it's happened more than once. It's not like this is a few bad apples. This is caught multiple times, cops plotting to make crap up against you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. A little bit more about this case, and you can share your thoughts with us here and take control of the airwaves. This is Free Talk Live.
His hair was falling out in clumps. Petey stopped eating and all his hair fell out. Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our golden retriever, Sundance, he scratched incessantly. There was hair all over. I heard a radio advertisement for Dynovite.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids, zinc. There's flaxseed oil, the seaweed, the kelp, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Within 2 weeks, the shedding slowed down to almost none. The scratching went away after a few days, and Sundance's coat was starting to get shiny and glossy the way it had when she was a puppy.
Tons of energy, no more bad smells.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, the phone number for Dynovite is 859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering open bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST, hosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold's $3 higher at $1,268 per ounce, and silver is 2 cents lower at $17.58 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $628 US. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage have been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. To see how we can help you, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Coming up, the latest hysterics around the non-existent clown threat. We'll get into that here in a few moments. You can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything that you want.
You've been saying that all night.
Yep. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. And you can join us online anytime over at freetalklive.com. Another great site is freedomsphoenix.com. They've got a liberty-oriented news aggregation site for you with the newest and freshest stories and perspective on current events from those who value liberty. It's freedomsphoenix.com. And they've got a daily dispatch, which will come right into your email box, and it's the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. As we continue here, a little bit more about this just insane situation in a California parking lot with a private investigator, Ken Shepard, just sitting in his car in a residential neighborhood. He was working on a case at the time, so that's when a Los Angeles sheriff's deputy comes over and just starts asking him questions just to contact. You know, normally if a officer is on the streets and you're on the streets and they come up and ask you questions, you don't have to answer his questions. But, you know, the man in the car is obviously very familiar with police.
You can go up and talk to anybody in this world, right, if they're sitting in a car out in public. So an officer can certainly do that.
The man in the car is trying to, appease the officer to some extent, and it just escalates insanely where the guy in the car didn't do anything to deserve it. He just didn't get out of the car when the officer demanded that he get out of the car for no reason whatsoever. Just because he's black in a car in Los Angeles apparently was the reason that he was demanded to get out of the car. Usually, if you're just sitting in a car, that's not reason enough for an officer to get you out and pat you down or, intimidate you, but
Can't
that's what
an
happened
officer
here.
do a Terry pat just if anytime they feel like it?
That's a good question. I don't think an officer can Terry pat you based on a consensual stop. Like, he wasn't driving in this case.
Any of contact. An officer can walk up to you on the street, begin talking to you, decide they need to do a Terry pat, and do a Terry pat. I believe that's the case. Because at any point they can feel threatened. If they feel threatened...
Is that how they're justifying stop and frisk? Then, because
stop and frisk is different. In a Terry pat, you're only looking for weapons.
Well, in this case,
now if they feel, say your, marijuana smoking pipe in your pocket, and they ask you what is that, and you say it is my marijuana smoking pipe, you have testified against yourself.
I think they have to have, Mark, and somebody should look into this a little bit further. But I think that in order for them to be able to Terry pat you, they have to have some kind of suspicion that you might have a weapon. So, like if and they can make this up easily,
what
right?
What suspicion is there for somebody who has a weapon?
They can make this up easily. So, like if you make a furtive movement when he pulls you over and it looks like you might have just stashed something under the seat or whatever, like that might be it. I could be wrong about that. We should probably look up a little bit further on what can justify a Terry pat. But either way.
One question I have is, and I haven't seen the video, so I don't know if he knows or not. Do you guys think that he would have acted that way had he known he was being recorded by the dash cam?
Excellent question. I don't know if he was aware of the recording going on. That's a good question.
It would be scarier if he knew he was being recorded
and did it anyway. Yeah.
But I imagine he would have told him to stop recording immediately and lied about whatever wiretapping laws they have there.
So after pulling a gun on this guy for not getting out of the car or for reaching for his earpiece, he had a Bluetooth earpiece and he reaches back for it, and the man then pulls a gun on him and holds him at gunpoint, pointing a gun at his head while shaking. Visibly shaking, and has a finger in the trigger guard, which means that anybody who's ever shot a gun before, especially this kind of gun that the officer has, where he's pulled the hammer back. I mean, this is the most sensitive trigger you could imagine. You touch that thing, it's going to go off. You put the slightest amount of pressure on that trigger, and it's going to go off.
Yeah, it's not like a Glock or most police stations have. Police departments have, where it has somewhat of it has like a 6-pound trigger pull depending on which model they have. I don't know about the Beretta, but
so it was really intense. Finally, he puts the gun down minutes later after being told to by a superior officer who arrived on the scene. But then they confiscate his camera, they search his car illegally. While they are talking amongst themselves, they don't realize they're actually recording themselves on the man's camera. And so, therefore, now the private investigator, has finally been able to file a lawsuit against them because they conspired against him, basically conspiring to manufacture vehicular citations which would justify Plunkett's reckless threat to kill him. It's all caught on video. So the dude sues them, says, look, this is outrageous. However, despite the video evidence that all of this took place, a federal jury ruled in favor of the sheriff's department last month.
Well, obviously officers have to talk amongst themselves in order to come up with how charges are going to be laid and that sort of thing.
They were coming up with it for the purpose of going after this guy.
Hey, we need to come up with some charges to make this guy. Okay.
Yes. In fact, at one point, one of the officers, it doesn't say this in this article, which is a surprise, but in the second video, the one the officers inadvertently recorded of themselves, one of them actually says to another officer, "Please let me tase this guy." As though that's just something they regularly decide with one another. Hey, you can tase this guy. Hey, it's okay.
And what the hell kind of jury let that slide?
Well, so here's what happened with the jury.
The normal one.
Shepard says the jury was never shown the full video. He says, no, they didn't see all the video, and the video they did see was altered by the defense counsel, he explained to a journalist. The incident took place in Montrose, California, a population of about 20,000. Less than 1% of the population is African American. But whether or not it can be proven that Shepard, who is black, was racially profiled, the video proves his rights were violated, at least in a world where the Constitution is taken into consideration. So hopefully appellate judges will be viewing the full video before making their decision. In fact, it does mention it. In fact, one female deputy named Hanson begged to be granted permission to taser Shepard, even though the video proves he did nothing to deserve a tasering. So the simple fact that this man stood up for himself and didn't completely cower in front of these officers.
He was compliant. I mean, none of this makes any sense.
Was the reason why this woman wanted to tase him. According to the lawsuit filed in 2015, quote, during the course of the next several minutes, the deputies on scene conspired to concoct a citable offense against Mr. Shepard. Because remember, they didn't have any reason to talk to this guy. These law enforcement officials attempted to justify Deputy Plunkett's actions ex post facto. Most critically, Deputy Hansen and Ramirez crafted a citation that was ultimately signed by Deputy Plunkett, because neither Hansen or Ramirez were willing to personally sign the citation after engaging in a lengthy discussion concerning the contents of the citation. As she was attempting to creatively fashion charges to be brought against Shepard with the aforementioned citation, Deputy Hansen states, "Please just let me taser him," unquote. Shepard was not arrested, but cited for illegal tinting and not having a license plate. He says his car had a temporary plate in accordance with the law, and they actually provide you with the jury instructions and their decision. You can see why they ruled the way that they did, because they didn't get the full story. They didn't get the full information. And we'll, again, as I said, we'll link the full videos there, video 1 and 2. The first one where the cop pulls the gun, the second one where the cops are conspiring to fabricate charges. So you can join us here, the toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Why be held hostage by your wireless carrier for 2 years? What if you had no contract, no activation fees, no hidden costs, tracking, tracing, harvesting customer data, or draconian gimmicks? All on America's largest 4G LTE, GSM, and Sprint networks. Introducing Pix Wireless. Activate your Sprint, AT&T, or unlock GSM phones with Pix, and choose from an arsenal of monthly plans or build your own. Starting at only $2.99 per month. Get connected now. Call or click 1-866-205-9513 or PixWireless.com, spelled PIXWireless.com. Pick Pix and get connected today.
Want to build a maintenance-free, low and slow charcoal briquette fire that burns for hours for free? MeatMastersRadio.com will show you how to build a low-temp charcoal fire that's guaranteed fiddle-proof. It's easy and free. MeatMastersRadio.com teaches charcoal barbecue skills on new topics every week. Go to MeatMastersRadio.com. That's MeatMastersRadio.com.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
saying that he was giving his coworkers at Marley Publishing just a few more days to catch on to him. Local mentally unstable man Michael Redding told reporters he planned on exhibiting 1 or 2 more warning signs this week before, quote, finally doing this.
I think I'll do just a couple of disconcerting things in front of people here at the office. Maybe give them a day or two to take action through the appropriate channels. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm going through with it.
The fully unhinged Redding, who plans on, quote, making this thing happen sometime next week, claims that despite displaying erratic and worrisome behavior around the office for the past few months, his actions have gone completely unreported by his coworkers.
I definitely talked about my frustration with life in general, and I even discussed my fascination with all sorts of violence. But that still didn't throw up any red flags. We'll see if anyone catches on.
Mike? I don't know him super well, but he's nice enough. He's quiet and he keeps to himself mostly, but I'm sure he'll come out of his shell. Just a matter of time.
This is the Onion News Network.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us on the radio here. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And I'll throw some more numbers at you just to confuse you. We got the audio on-demand listen line, which allows you to call up 24/7 if you want. Listen to Free Talk Live whenever you want, on demand. Listen to a bunch of other great LRN.FM shows on demand. Or listen to the LRN.FM live feed. You can do it all for no cost if you don't have to pay for long distance. If you do have to pay for long distance, you probably shouldn't write this number down. But if you've got the unlimited long distance plan on your smartphone or your home landline phone, this will be great for you. It's 641-793-9660. 641-793-9660. It's a way for you to listen to Free Talk Live and LRN.FM without having to expend any of your data plan. You're only expending minutes, and a lot of you probably have unlimited minutes in addition to unlimited long distance. So again, enter this number in your phone, 641-793-9660. It also allows you to leave voicemail. So if you're listening to the show via that phone line, you can hit 0 anytime, and then the voicemail prompt will come up. You leave your message. It'll appear in Mark and I's inbox. So 641-793-9660. To the phones and your calls and thoughts. Coming up, clown news. But first, David is with us, I believe, in New Mexico. David?
Yeah, I wanted to add on to your to support your story of or your reporting of the officers that were caught fabricating charges to support their actions. And first of all, just to keep things accurate, I believe that in addition to semi-automatics, that revolvers generally have not a light touch trigger pull because
this was not a revolver.
Oh no, I know what he means.
Anyway, it's hard to find a service weapon that would have a trigger pull that would be dangerously light. It's
when you pull the hammer back, it's going to be a pretty light trigger pull.
Well, that's if it's like double action. I think with the Beretta, from what I believe, that just means it's able to fire.
Yeah. Anyway, I won't belabor the point. In Albuquerque, this is in a quick narrative type. This is what happened to me that ended up with the falsified charges. I was driving down the road and I was pulled over by a cop. An officer Shook in Albuquerque. And first of all, for you cops out there listening, I make friends with the majority of cops that I run into, even when they pull me over. It's the minority that I can't make friends with, and even those, if I have a chance to work on them, usually I can get them to come around. So this isn't one-sided. But anyway, so Officer Shook pulls me over. He pulls me over. He says that he saw my cracked windshield. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. And they decided to do I hadn't been drinking, but they decided to do the field sobriety tests anyway. Apparently they didn't believe me. So and this is the coldest night of that winter. To that point, it was below freezing, above zero, below freezing. It was down around 5 degrees Fahrenheit. And anyway, so they have me out of the car doing the stupid human tricks. They have me do the one where I stand on one foot and raise the other one and count until they tell you to stop counting. And I got to about 40, and I told the DUI officer that they called to do the exam was and Marissa. I forget your Hispanic surname, but Marissa is her name. And I get to about 40, and I stop counting, and I keep my foot up, and I tell her, I'm putting my foot down now because my hip hurts. And the second I put my foot down, she cuffs me and arrests me. And then Officer Shook searches the cab of my truck, and he pulls out an empty liquor container, and in the report anyway, it says it was a can of Mickey's. He tips it over, and a few drops come out, and he writes up that he found an open container with a few drops in there. What he failed to write in the report was that can, it was one I had picked up trash after people. It was paper thin. I had picked it up in a parking lot that had been run over by vehicles, and it was literally paper thin, from being run over by a vehicle. And he didn't note
didn't mention that.
Anyways, no, didn't mention that. So they and then they don't bother to use a breathalyzer. They arrest me, take me to the cop shop, have my truck towed. And I'm not from in Albuquerque. I live, an hour drive outside of Albuquerque. So they tow my truck, and this is already basically like 11 p.m. They tow my truck and take me to the cop shop to use the finely calibrated, expensive breathalyzer down there. And then, and then if I blow zero, then they're going to let me go. Well, they towed my truck, but they're going to let me go. So they get down there, and I blow 0.00000 the first time, and they for their records or whatever legally they do it twice. Okay, great. So I blow a second time 0.00000, and I said, so I can go now. And she goes, well, no, now we got to have Gustavus come, the drug expert guy, and make sure that you're not under the influence of anything other than alcohol. So we wait an hour for him to show up, and I go, okay, so when I pass his test, then I can go, right? And she says yes. And so Gus comes and does his exam, and he tells Marissa, he's not intoxicated, it's a medical condition. and then so I'm sitting on the bench by the wall, and about 15 feet away from me, the Marissa, I noticed her leaning in and talking to Sergeant Daniel Carr, and I had mentioned him previously to you. He was the cop that got busted for the cops like to go get their drinks of water and use the bathroom in Albuquerque at a topless bar called Knockouts. It's convenient to their little downtown Friday and Saturday night patrol, so they're always in the topless bar getting their water and using the bathroom. It's the best place to go.
Sure, it makes total sense.
It makes no sense at all.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so what is she saying to him?
Well, let me tell you in a second. Give me 10 seconds on Carr, because Carr's history is that he was trying to pick up a stripper there, and he arrested her boyfriend for DUI, and then told the stripper that he could get the charges against him dismissed by not showing up. Wink, wink. And on another occasion, he had asked her if she would like him to follow her home after her shift in the middle of the night in case she has been drinking, so that nobody pulls her over. So anyway, that's Sergeant Carr. Yeah, nice guy. And what I heard him say to Marissa when they were leaning in about me was that, quote, I heard this very clearly. I would send him to jail anyway, so that the liability is on them, meaning releasing me into the coldest winter night when I live an hour outside of town, and you had towed my truck, and I don't even have a winter jacket on.
Oh, God.
And so I'm sitting on the bench after they said that, and Marissa walks down to the booking dude or whatever, and which is about 40 feet down the line, down the counter, and they look over at me, and they motion to me with a finger, come here. And so I walk down there, and they all got these stupid looks on their face. And when I get down there, they don't say anything. The first thing they do is grab me, spin me around, and cuff me, because I'd been uncuffed because I'd been found innocent.
Right.
So they cuff me, and I'm like, and I get this big grin on my face, because I knew what they were doing, and I said, "You're sending me to jail anyway?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, why?" "Well, you had to open container here, blah." That was their excuse. Later, when I saw the paperwork, I noticed on my paperwork was the additional charge in addition to the flattened open container of disorderly conduct. So somewhere along the line, I became disorderly, which then qualified me to go to jail. And I wonder when that disorderly got added. Probably right after the conversation with Sergeant Daniel Carr. So anyway, that's if
so
my
what happened to you after
sounds,
jail? Or when did you get let out, or what happened?
Yeah, well, they let me out of jail, and they few hours. I spent a few hours there, and they let me out of jail. And the jail's outside the city. They bust me back downtown, released me out on the street at like, I don't know, it was still dark out. And the sun, it was just getting light. They released me out on the street. It's just getting light. And so and it's like a
Freezing.
Sunday, I believe.
Yeah.
And I walk a couple miles. I walk like 3-4 miles up to where my vehicle had gotten towed to. And, luckily I had money enough on me.
Hold that. I want to hear the rest of the story because I want to know what happened with these charges. Where'd they go?
Yeah.
This is Free Talk Live.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-929-5733. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-929-5733. 1-800-929-5733.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Go to GCNteam.com or call 855-GCN-MALL. That's 855-426-6255. GCNteam.com or 855-426-6255. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You may join us in these remaining moments here if you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And the Skype username is LRN.FM. Tonight in studio, Ian here.
Vincent here.
And Mark.
Join us and bring up anything that you want. You can also join us and get interactive online. You can join the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com for just $5 a month. And it's something you can use your credit card for, Visa, MasterCard, right there on the AMP site. You can also use other credit cards through PayPal. And you can use Bitcoin to sign up. You get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only chat room, the AMP-only Facebook group. We used to have a chat room a long time ago.
Isn't the chat room still on the cam?
Yeah, but that's not AMP-only. It's available to that chat room's available to anybody.
That's true.
So the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast. Those are some of the key perks for amplifiers. And it helps us out, too, when you do it. $5 a month is being invested into the show so we can get on more radio stations, hopefully, and bring more internet listeners on board. Go to amp.freetalklive.com to do that. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, David is on the line. He was arrested in a situation where he wasn't drunk. But because you put your foot down after 40 seconds of holding it up in the air, the officer put you in handcuffs, took you back to the station, processed you, give you a blood alcohol content check, and, of course, you tested at 0 because you hadn't been drinking at all that night. But they found a crushed-up beer can in your car that you'd picked up from the road, and they decided that was enough evidence to charge you with some sort of open container violation, and they threw in a disorderly conduct charge just for good measure. You were released from the jail, and rather than the police station, so they sent you to the jail. Now, why did they release you from the jail? Was it because you got bailed out, or you were assigned PR bail?
Well, yeah, that's another interesting story, and that's worth people can learn from this. They called me up to after sitting there for hours. The girl called me up to the counter. By name, I went up there, and she puts a slip of paper down on the counter, and with the number circled, she says your bail is $1,200. And I looked her in the eye and I said, no, it's not. It's 0. And I said, the bail is to secure return, and my court records for like 5-6 years for fighting over my children in every court in Albuquerque was a proven record. I got kids here, I got property.
Right. You don't skip court. You show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I told her, no, it's not. My bail is 0, and this is why. So go get your person back on the phone and have it made to 0. And so she came back like 20 minutes later, and my bail was 0. And so they put me in, like I said, the jail I was downtown at the cop shop. They shipped me 15-20 miles out of town to the jail to get processed. Mm-hmm. And then when they were done there, they shipped me 15-20 miles back, released me on the streets of Albuquerque at dawn.
All right. So what happened to the charges? Ultimately,
I legally outmaneuvered them. I had to make it. I made a decision. Had I had the energy to do it, I would have fought them. However, what I did, I didn't plead guilty. What I did is I was heavily involved with the court fighting for my children, and I was exhausted and literally legally disabled from the process. And so what I did is when the court, sent me the papers for the arraignment or whatever, I contacted the court and said, hey, guess what? Your courts have previously disabled me. And so you need to have your evaluator evaluate me for competency to go through trial. And I went to the evaluator and said, hey, here's how I've been beat up. Here's my proof of disability. So I'm not competent to stand trial, and you're going to agree with me, and we're just going to have the thing dismissed. And that's what we did.
Telling them that you weren't competent to stand trial made it so they dismissed these charges?
She obviously agreed. Well, first of all, I had the legal proof. I could prove it. And second of all, the evaluator.
You sound pretty competent to me. I mean, you don't sound like a nut job or whatever.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a nut job, but here's what happened when my children, I haven't seen my children in 10 years. And so when your children disappear overnight without warning and you never see them again, what you get is PTSD, you get OCD, you get depression, you get anxiety. That's what you get. And so, no, I'm not crazy. I was depressed, anxious.
I've seen him put plenty of depressed, anxious, and PTSD people on trial.
Yeah, I can't imagine that the court system is exactly containing a bunch of poster childs for mental health.
Yeah.
Poster children for mental health.
Remember, my key statement was there. I had a sympathetic evaluator.
I see what you're saying. The fact is, she probably evaluated the case and realized there was no real case against you, and that's probably why it was dropped. David, good call. Thanks for sharing your story tonight. It's always instructive to hear what things are like when you get arrested by the police, because a lot of people don't know what that's like. You've never been through the process. It seems like when you see it on TV or on cops, it's glamorized to some extent. They don't show you the whole thing. They don't show you how long it takes for all these things to get done.
I've never been arrested, and that story it got me stressed out just thinking about it. I'm such an empathetic person, but yeah, I'm like stressed out.
Let's go to Sarah. She's in Albuquerque. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, you know what? I am afraid of Donald Trump being elected. Because you know something, what is he going to do to all the ugly people in America?
What is Donald Trump?
Vincent's a Donald Trump supporter. Does Donald Trump have a plan for the ugly people?
Well,
I think he'll leave it to the states.
In his golf course, the hostess, the ugly ones, he fired them all when there's a pretty
didn't you already call about this?
Yeah, but the thing is, he's obsessed with beautiful women. He's
Can you
best
blame
at
him?
Beauty pageants. You need to stick. Why do you want to run a country for?
I've got a good question. I think that's a good question. What makes him want to run for president? And I think that a lot of people would like to be president, and really the reason is about control. It's about power. Why does Hillary Clinton want to be president, for God's sake?
I've seen several different theories as to why he's running, because his life. I interpret it as his life being a lot better if he hadn't run, because he'd still be able to relax. He wouldn't have all this flack from everyone.
Yeah.
From what I hear from people saying, this is mainly from Alex Jones, I'm just going to say Alex Jones claims he's running because he didn't like the direction America was going in terms of trade, economy, freedom, and so he ran to try and fix America the way that he knew how. That's one theory that I've heard.
There you go, Sarah. Thanks for the call. Maybe he's running to stop the clowns. The story from WCCO. Target officials said Sunday that they have removed some clown masks from stores and online due to the recent rise of crazy clown scares. A recent craze that has gone to social media shows people wearing creepy or scary-looking clown masks and going up to people to scare them. There have been arrests associated with the creepy clown craze, and a high school soccer coach was fired after a photo of himself wearing a mask at his team's final practice appeared on social media. Many of the instances were intended to be pranks, but some feel the instances went too far and were threatening.
It's clowns, and I'm scared of clowns.
Target spokesperson.
I'm an adult, and I can't handle clowns.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
His spokesperson for Target, Joshua Thomas, said, quote, "Given the current environment, we have made the decision to remove
a current environment of a bunch of people calling themselves adults that are scared of clowns. You don't give in to crazy people. When you give in to crazy people, you have a crazy society.
We have made the decision to remove a variety of clown masks from our assortment, both in stores and online," unquote. Target officials said not all clown costumes have been pulled, and that kids looking to be a happier form of a clown can still find those in stores and online. So not a total clown ban over at Target, but still definitely some reactionary product removals.
It's ridiculous. From Reason.com, a Mississippi county has declared it illegal to dress like a clown and is threatening to levy a $150 fine against anyone caught in a clown costume.
Wow.
The Kemper County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously on Wednesday to implement the ban, which expires the day after Halloween. It makes it unlawful for anyone of any age to appear in public in a clown costume, clown mask, or clown makeup. The newspaper
Insane.
reports that the measure was passed at the request of the Kemper County Sheriff, James Moore. The national trend of people.
Stop to these clowns.
It's crazy. I mean, this guy is a grown adult.
My rights are being trampled on.
He made it to the highest position in his county sheriff's department. He's the sheriff, and he thinks that with the best solution to whatever's going on is outlawing.
Well, that's how they think. You know, you give a man a hammer, he's going to think everything's a nail. If you get the government, then we ban things.
Ridiculous.
That's what they do. What was it? $150 fine.
$150 fine.
Yeah.
The national trend of people dressing up like clowns has really gotten out of hand, said Johnny
Are you kidding me?
Whitesett, president of the County Board of Supervisors.
It's out of hand.
Yeah.
There's only one way to solve this problem.
Yep. County officials have panicked over stories of threatening clowns, despite little evidence that the supposed clown panic is anything but a wildly successful hoax.
Well, tomorrow afternoon in Keene, New Hampshire, we'll have a masked protest right in the heart of Central Square, so we'll see if anything happens here, but it didn't when I was out there alone last
Guy
night.
Fawkes mask looks like a clown mask.
It does, kind of. We'll see you tomorrow online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold's $3 higher at $1,268 per ounce, and silver is